Welcome everybody to Movies, Music, and Mayhem. I'm their host. Jesus Christ, I haven't even started drinking yet. I'm your host, Rachel Silvestrini. Welcome to show 47. Oh my God, guys, it's been over a year since quarantine. It's been a really weird year. It's almost a year since I started the show, which seems insane to me. But one of the people that's really helped me through this and through a lot of the things that, have been going on in the last few years, because, it wasn't just last year that was a shit show. Shit happened before that. But one of my favorite people of all time has agreed to come on, and I love her so dearly. Guys, it is the one and only, the great Alex Mack.
Hi. I thought they would be cool, but clearly they're not being cool yet. How's it going, boo?
Life's a shit show, and it's ending soon, though, so that's kind of good. And you just told me, well, we were chatting earlier, that I get to see you in like a week from today.
I've been, honest to God, counting down the days. I really have.
I did not know you were coming to Mike and Bethany's wedding, and now I am looking even more forward to it. Like, I didn't think I could be more excited.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, obviously, I get to see your beautiful, wonderful face and tackle you with aggressive affection and love. But we're there for a very beautiful and positive reason, obviously celebrating the marriage of one beautiful Bethany Curl going up against this really mediocre dude named Mike. So,
we love her. We love us some Mike on this show too. They're just like the sweetest human beings. It's really obnoxious, but I love them dearly, and I'm so excited to get to see them. We actually bonded in the New York airport, at Newark Airport, as we were leaving the August New York event. And you know how we all were after that event. It was a bit rough. And so the next
Lucas sending me pictures. I was not able to go. Lucas has been to 2 live events without me.
Oh my God.
That was one of them. We went to a New York event together. But he went to the one in August without me, and he just sent me pictures, and he called me being like, Alex, all these people are asking me about you. Why aren't you here? And he's like, I'm not there. And he's like, yeah, but still, they don't believe me. But
yeah, that's how rough New York was. I forgot you weren't there.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how we go. And so what?
I was there in spirit.
You were. I mean, we called you quite a lot, if I remember correctly. I remember talking to you very drunk. But yeah, as we were all making our way to depart the Big Apple, I saw these 2 people in front of me and recognized them from the crowd, and they kind of did the whole wait, and I was like, hi, and we chatted, and they were lovely, and then we started our friendship there in a Newark Terminal Airport, which was great. Now I'm going to their wedding and getting to hang out with my favorite people, and I'm so stoked. It's gonna be a really fucking crazy wedding. I don't know if they're live streaming the wedding.
I doubt it, to be honest.
I know that it's getting taped. I know that you told me that Demolanta's doing their videography, which is amazing.
Yeah, I know I think he's their wedding photographer as well. I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong because I know he's a photographer as well. But I know he's going to be doing the whole lovers video thing.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. It's basically, if they are recording the ceremony, it's just going to be us obnoxiously whispering in the back, being like, we love them so much.
So true.
I'm kind of worried for their families, to be quite honest.
Do
they know what's coming?
I do kind of feel bad for them, because I've talked with Mike about it, and he's like, this is just going to be the Schmoedown live event without the actual Schmoedown. It's going to be the Schmoedown experience.
I mean, there's enough competitors staying at the house. We could probably get a match going drunkenly on a Friday night.
As if I won't bring my computer, and as if I don't have a million questions on hand casually. No big deal.
I mean, I have to bring my laptop. I have to do shows while I'm in Florida. So, it might be fun.
You never know what's going to happen. It's a Schmoedown event that happens to have a wedding.
Yep. That happens to have a really pretty white dress. And people swearing their undying love to each other. So, In that note, like and subscribe, guys. You never know what's gonna fucking happen.
Undying love for this channel.
It's true.
And for this lady.
I do what I can. Okay, so now a lot has gone down with you this year. Mainly the fact that you are now in DC.
Yes.
How are you liking DC?
DC is really beautiful. It's wonderful. Obviously, with everything going down, we're not able to experience a lot that the city has to offer. We would love to check out the Smithsonian museums, the Nazi museums, all that good stuff. Again, but obviously everything's shut down, thankfully. But my husband and I, we live in a really, really cool area of the city, and we take a lot of really good walks. We are close to a bunch of really amazing restaurants. And
what area are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
I'll DM you the area.
Fantastic, because there's some really shady parts of DC.
Girl, I used to live in St. Louis. I mean,
fair, but yeah, no, the only time I was ever sexually assaulted was in DC. Oh. Yeah, some guy ran up behind me as I was going down an escalator to a metro station and flipped up my skirt, but was so drunk he misjudged where the skirt was and scratched my ass. Bled. Yeah, I got to talk to cops the next day though. That was really fun, and they were a little thrown by like the fact that once it happened and we went back to the hotels and everything, I just sat on my laptop and like typed up a statement of like everything that happened and everything. And so when they came to the theater the next day, they were like, yeah, so what happened? I'm like, well, this is what happened. And I can send you my PDF if you want. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, I've watched so many cop shows. Like, I know what you need.
I am all for being prepared.
Yeah.
For situations, obviously. And I know with your jobs that you've had with all the tours and stuff you've on, time is the essence. The time is incredibly valuable. So I don't know if you would have even had the option to really go away for like 4 or 5 hours or whatever it's needed to make a statement and everything, and
yeah,
whatever maybe.
It was actually really funny. They showed up because like they called and they came to the venue. And they came into my merchandise like closet office that I had at that theater, and it was very, very small. So it's like me sitting at my desk and these two people, like these two officers, like standing in the corner, being surrounded by like Beauty and the Beast merchandise. It was so funny. I was like, this literally, I feel like I'm in a Law and Order episode. Like, what is going on?
They just casually just popped out.
I was just waiting for the dun dun. And it never happened. I was very disappointed.
Are you going to watch the reunion between Stabler and Elliot?
Oh, of course.
Between Law and Order, Organized Crime. That's going to be Elliot Stabler's.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been one of those shows that I haven't kept up on, but it's like you can drop in anytime and figure out what's going on. Like they're not that interwoven and technical, and like you can hop on whenever. It's fun.
Absolutely. There's from that show, from what I remember, I haven't seen it in years though. There's very few episodes where they really clasp onto each other. I mean, where they're really connected, unless it's like a finale situation or whatever it might be.
We have a visitor in the chat. Apparently Saul's just here not to get shadow tweeted, and no, he did not use the term correctly. Subtweeted. He's referring to subtweeting.
Subtweeted.
We were having a discussion earlier about subtweeting and what it is and what warrants it, and
oh my gosh, my husband and I actually had a conversation surrounding subtweeting not too long ago, and because I've seen so many bad examples of subtweeting where it just makes situations a million times worse, and sometimes it leads things. Sometimes it makes things seem like something it's not.
And then starts other stuff. Yeah, no.
Exactly. And it just kind of brings people in, just draws attention to things. Or like, because there are some times that let's face it, when it comes to certain situations, especially if you're in the middle of a heated discussion or there's a full-on really active disagreement with someone, where there's a lot of anger, essentially, you want to tell people about it. You want to like message your friends, or you want to say it about, you can't go into the details, so you want to send out a subtweet. But there's so many things that I feel like that just 99.9% of the time, subtweeting is useless. Based on
useless. It's literally you feel like whoever's subtweeting is just like a toddler with a can of gasoline, just like throwing the gas all over the place, and wherever a match lights, it lights. We're not subtweeting you for not knowing what subtweeting is.
Or like if I subtweet and it's about this, someone thinks it's about something else entirely, and you're like, wait, that's a thing? Oh shoot.
Yeah. Well, it is now.
It is now, bitch.
That's why I'm just like, look, if you've got a problem with me, just fucking tag me or message me. My DMs are open. We can talk about this like adults. And if you want to be a brat about it, like, go ahead. Fine. Yeah. I don't care. But yes.
It's really, really funky. I prefer DMs. I prefer DMs. I prefer calls.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have especially like if you and I had a disagreement, I feel like we have a relationship where I would want to tell you in person. I would want to talk to you in person.
Yeah.
Just because that's the relationship we have, and I respect you and I love you, and you're like the older sister I've always wanted to have. And you are in my heart.
You're my sister. It's fine.
So and not to mention, things get lost in translation in a text or stuff like that.
DM, yeah.
And so
you need to hear tone of voice.
Yeah, like why even do it? And so doing it like this, makes it a lot easier.
If somebody just turned in, there's no issue between me and Alex. We are not angry with each other. That's also not how subtweeting works. You can't subtweet with your voice.
Definitely not. Also, subtweeting requires you to not mention names or any kind of specifics at all. The vaguer, the better. If I put out a tweet that's just a GIF saying I'm fucking pissed, that's a tough subtweet.
I mean, my favorite one is just the tweet of anger from Inside Out, like freaking out with the title of me. Because you don't know why they're angry.
Or it's just like, or the tea one.
Oh yeah,
there's so many teas, like stirring the tea, Kermit the Frog.
I just grow up and tell people what's going on. That's it. So many issues would be taken care of. And if you really like the drama, get the fuck out of here. I don't want you.
Even better, you like the person that's doing the subtweeting thinks that they're showing a lot of restraint. They're being mature by subtweeting and not addressing it, when it just solidifies the fact that you're not doing the adult thing. Like just talk it out. Like even if you really, really disagree, even if you're on complete opposite ends.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
I mean, and I understand why that there are some times that you actually need to like your soul needs to subtweet. You just need to get something out there because you're upset, but you don't want to like bring everybody into your shit. Then like, I get it. It happens. Call a friend, write it in an email, but don't put it in an email, put it in a Word document and then fucking delete it later. Call me. Yeah. I'll listen to you, bitch.
Don't call me.
Yeah, don't call her. Don't call her.
Rachel can call me.
Yeah.
Not everyone can call me, though.
I mean, you can also call me like Alex does every now and then with literally just a picture of her cabinetry and like her food and her fridge and just be like, hey, I need to cook something.
Yo, actually. Okay, so hold up. Let me get something. A cup.
I'm so excited for this. Yeah. No, literally, I have received so many texts from her that we were talking one day about how I like to cook. Oh, that's right. It was after the New Year's show that we did for like 7 hours, and then I chatted with PLD and You remember that? That's where it started. Was at New Year's 2 years ago. Was it
I
2 years
remember
ago or last year? Last year.
I don't know what is time.
It was last year because I remember being in the apartment in Glendale, and we were cooking, and you were like, "What are you cooking?" And I like text you. I was like, "Oh, it's this," and you're like, "That sounds delicious." I'm like, "Yeah, it's super easy to make." And you're like, "Well, how do I do it?" And I was like, "Great, let's do this. Let's do a cooking show."
I remember I sent you like it was you had a match, and like a few days later I was like, Rachel, I need help, and you're like, what's wrong? And I was
Those
like,
are trigger words.
And I'm hungry and I don't know what to eat. Like I know I have stuff in my fridge, but I don't know how to puzzle shit together because I don't really know how to cook. I don't. Like I grew up in an Asian household where my mom would yell at me if I didn't cut carrots correctly. So I would cry and I would just never be in the kitchen.
Gotcha.
So as a result, I just didn't learn to cook all that much. My husband, however, is a great cook, but that's why I married him, because he does the cooking and I don't. But it's true. And so I literally called you and I was like, tell me something, give me something to eat, puzzle some shit together. And I sent you pictures of my pantry, my fridge, and you're like, coconut milk, carrots, bam. And you're like, okay, show me your spice rack.
I was like, what you got? What you got? Let's do this. So we constructed a bomb, and by bomb, I mean like it was a bomb ass fucking meal.
It was delicious. I had some leftover protein. I grilled some halloumi cheese. I had some curried vegetables and carrots, and it was delicious. Oh my gosh, I eat carrots on the regular now.
Yeah, because I taught you how to roast carrots.
Yeah, I never thought about roasting carrots.
Those garlic butter roasted carrots. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
guys.
Yes. But I sent you like
I know. We're getting hungry too. I'm sorry.
I just remember sending you like regular updates and be like, okay, how long do I have to put in this in the oven for? Okay, well, I don't have that particular temperature. we're like, hey, it's doing this, and I'm like, I don't know if it's correct, and you're like, it's fine. And I was like, are you sure? But my husband has been cooking a ton of delicious food from this one, the Ottolenghi cookbook, and he's in his delicious food making Israeli chef, and he has a bunch of vegan dishes and vegetarian dishes. We've been eating quite a few vegetarian dishes. Lucas made a garlic soup recently, which I didn't know was an official thing. But 25 cloves of garlic.
That sounds like that's what I put into like one bowl of pasta for me, because Italian.
But that's I like to keep telling people, garlic is something you measure with your heart, not with a measuring spoon or number of cloves. No. But he made that, and he made this. I wish I could show you. Wait, can I show you a picture? Do I have a picture? But he also made our. Okay. It was it's got such a horrible picture.
Oh my gosh.
So we got some big old things of bread right there, and that's actually roasted eggplant with a buttermilk sauce with some kind of herby yumminess with some kind of berry on top. It was supposed to be pomegranate, but we didn't have pomegranate at a grocery store, so I think he's like goji berry or something. But sweet baby Jesus.
That shit is good.
Yeah, I had like 4 of them.
Yeah, night. That shit is addicting. Like, it's so good.
I never thought I would be full off of eggplant. Like, I'm not talking about the emoji.
Hey.
Hi, Peggy. Hi, gorgeous. I can't wait to watch Peggy's match coming up. I can't remember her name. She's going up against with that teeth. Thing she does in the phone now.
Oh yeah, the Fang thing. Shit, Peggy, who are you playing?
I can't remember.
I know she's. I was gonna announce this later, but fuck it, I'll do it now because she's here and we're talking about it. Where's my brand? She's gonna be my guest next week.
Boom.
Yeah. So her match debuts next Wednesday, and then I get her the next night.
Perfect. That's perfect timing right there.
Yeah, I talked to her. I was like, hey, do you want to go?
Paige Fabretti. Yes, that's it. Paige Fabretti. Yes.
Paige.
Paige.
I mean,
Peggy. There you go.
I'm a little jealous of her name. That is such a great name. The Boston Badass. Like, that's a great name.
Or what's her nickname again?
The Boston Badass.
No, but what's your nickname?
Oh, I'm the Switchblade motherfucker.
Or no, are you still a Switchblade? Or are you allowed to have Switchblade name?
I mean, to be fair, I haven't played this season, so we'll see when I finally get a match. But
mentality.
I mean, as far as I know, it's still the Switchblade. So yeah. It's like Schrodinger's cat. It is neither my name nor not my name at the same time. We'll find out when we open the box and I get a match.
Or Shining Star or whatever it was. It was a while ago.
I don't know. If basically I'm just going to demand that if it's not the Switchblade, then they have to guarantee that my intro will be recorded by Guy and Bateman introducing me as the Shining Shooter.
Oh gosh, Shining Shooter.
Oh, I mean, I love it when they do it. They're the only ones who like, because they do the Shining Shooter. Like, it's stupid and weird. It makes me laugh every fucking time.
Oh my god, I cannot. If we're gonna be going through the Schmoedown dive all that much, I cannot wait. Spoilers, y'all, obviously, but not spoilers, I guess. But Guy coming to the desk.
Oh my god,
everything.
I cannot
talked about for years.
I think that there should be a rule put into the rule book. Like, it's one of the rule book is one of those things that they were like, the only time that rules can get added or taken out is like at halfway through. Like, I think they can be added halfway through, but only taken out at the end. So if Guy is going to be at the desk, I need to start like campaigning to add a rule to the rule book that those who have already played against him have 2 vetoes a season for him calling their match. Because they've already had to put up with this bullshit.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, also something I remember is like his aggressive heelness. I wonder how involved it is going to be during the actual match. I mean, obviously there's a bazillion and one new rules added to the thing, and I still am so conflicted about this benefit of the doubt rule, but that's another conversation for another day.
There's a conversation for another day because I can go on for hours about it.
All right. Okay. So, but as someone that doesn't know professional wrestling or that doesn't know that world, I know the heel announcer is something has been a thing forever, and that's something I'm really excited to see. I am really nervous about how that's going to translate in terms of application, just because I don't like. I really don't like having announcers as people that determine challenges, winning versus losses challenges. I'm a person that thinks, considering how many new rules, how many things that announcers have to be on top of when calling a match, in order to give competitors the correct decision and actually do all these rules justice, I do think that there should be standalone people that is being like, hey, there's a person that's not having their hands on screen, hey this, hey that, the rules, the official rule book on hand. And being an announcer is already
tough enough.
Yeah, you're doing a million things at once. You're trying to be entertaining, you're trying to get the questions, you're trying to be on top of the score, all that good stuff. But on top of that, you get to have all these rules simultaneously as well.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And on top of that, the personality.
Yeah. It's a lot, which is why a lot of which is why only the very best competitors can carry through that character work that they start and end a match with. If they can carry it through the match, and not just like through the match, like when we're bantering between rounds. I mean, like constantly through, like with every breath, with every chuckle or sneer or whatever. If you're able to carry that through, only the best of the best can do that. Like Roka does it, Guy does it, Bateman does it, Bibiani does it, even though I'm like, that's not him. That's not a character. That's just him being the loveliest human being on the face of the planet. but like it takes a lot to carry that through. And that applies, like, and you shouldn't be expecting somebody to do that.
Well,
at the announcer desk. So yeah, I'm 100% with you. There needs to be a line judge.
Mm-hmm. It's also, we have to remember, I don't like they're also, like, for example, question writers, announcers. I obviously, I have all the trust in them to be unbiased.
Oh, yeah.
I have all the trust in them to be completely just in their decisions. However, just knowing that there are biases there, knowing that PJ Campbell, for example, Abby for real, I trust in their questions 100%. However, there is an obvious bias if there is a question and you're arguing about the technicality of the wording or whatever may be, and one of the people deciding whether or not this question is in their favor or not based on what their answer is, that's really wonky. And you're like, well, question writer's intention, well, that doesn't matter what the intention was.
Yeah, it's the words in front of you.
And so that just makes it very wonky, and it really does put the announcers in a very difficult situation and the competitors in a very difficult situation, which is not necessary.
Right. Well, I mean, you compare it. I mean, obviously, the comparison to professional wrestling is already like there with this whole thing. But if you literally look closer, it is a perfect comparison as to why we need, like, why there should be like a line judge kind of thing. Because if you look at professional wrestling, the guys calling the match are not the ones in the ring as a referee hitting the mat 3 times. Like, that's not their job. So, like, yeah, I think that they did address this. What?
Their jobs are busy enough.
Yeah, right. They got enough to do. But it's like it's one of those things that I think they did address this, though, is that the fact that like I know PJ's on the call for on every recording for every match, and like I know that there's other people who are like there as like the managers are there for unfairness, although whatever. But there should be like, you know, people from factions should be able to be represented there and listen in, because we're the ones who are doing the studying, who really know these questions. So if one of our faction mates doesn't challenge something, like, we should definitely be able to be there and be like, excuse me, no, like, that's a challenge. I'm challenging on their behalf.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, we have to remember, even if they are trying to make things unbiased, let's say, for example, if they're trying to bring in people that are hypothetically unrelated to the matches. Let's say if you're having a match going up against Liz Shannon Miller or something like that, hypothetically, in a singles match, you would never have Sam Levine, her manager, as one of the judges. You would never have Kate be the manager. And it's not about, oh, I don't trust them to be unbiased or anything. That's not what it's about. It's just that subconsciously or consciously, obviously, but also, you know, we just want to have people that are completely untouched from the situation be involved. Like, I would be very excited to see Jen Sturger be involved, because I know she knows, for a fact, she knows Schmoedown the ins and out. She knows that role at the back of her fucking hand. If we had some retired competitors like Jason Inman, Clark Wolf, come in and do it for fun, and where they're like, hey, there's no fucking stakes for me at all, obviously. I think that would be a really interesting thing to do, honestly.
Well, I want to comment on this because Chris brings up a point. Yes, that is the manager's job, challenge on their behalf, but there's a lot, like, competitors study and we know things. So like, if there's something that somehow a question, like something got wrong in a question or an answer between the translation or something like that, or an answer got accepted correctly, like, and it's actually wrong, like there's a reason that challenges happened in the studio match, because we were all there to like raise a ruckus and be like, that's not actually correct. But now with the digital, it's really hard. Like, the managers are there more right now to like kind of handhold and like guide and like be their Yoda, but they don't, like, they're like a Yoda without actually studying the Force. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a very different type of manager that's involved. for sure. And you are definitely going to do your best in terms of challenges. The thing is also, we have to remember challenges are timed now. You have to do it within a very specific time. Otherwise, it's fairy dust has gone in the wind. But also, managers, I think that they need to. There's some managers that I feel like are on top of their shit. They're able to fight for their competitors' challenges very effectively.
Oh yeah.
Roxy, for example, Koi, for example. However, there have been cases where I'm like, the manager should have caught that. Now, for example, there was a match recently. It was like one of the first matches of the year between Brother Loomis and Frankie Alvarez. And famously so, technically, Frankie didn't put the correct name on the board. Now, the thing is, these are both rookies. I do not blame the rookies for not. I don't blame Brother Loomis for not catching it, because he is just trying to stay focused, and I'm sure the guy's nervous regardless of the persona he has going on, and he's just trying to be on top of his shit. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to get through the match. I do, however, blame Gucci for not catching it. He is an established, consistent manager, and I feel like he should have caught that, because that was a very obvious challenge that could have been made.
Yeah, but then again, we're also talking about Gucci, and
that's why I feel like, whereas there are some challenges, like I said, Rachel with Roxy has been a lot more successful with it. Sam Levine has been a lot more successful when it comes to challenges. I want to talk about the statistics of conversion rates when it comes to these challenges are very important. Gucci is not on top. He was not on top of it for his rookie. And I think he could have been. If he had been on top of that challenge, the match could have been the exact other way around.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Peggy and I have discussed this a lot. Like, take Star Wars, for instance. Like, there's nobody is going to catch a Star Wars question being misworded or wrong, or the wrong answer being given more than a Star Wars competitor. Like, no one. Like, no manager is going to be able to come out and be like, I challenge that because I know this for a fact. Like, no, like, that's not what the managers are there for. So yeah, it's interesting.
I absolutely agree. It's also the job of the competitor, especially if you're in something like IG or Star Wars, where obviously the managers, Kate's not going to know every single thing about the movies that you're studying and everything. And
if she does, she should be fucking competing.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's not her job as manager. Thing is, she should be managers should actively be paying attention the entire time in order to prepare for the situations, to catch those situations. Because you as a competitor, Peggy, you as a competitor, Rachel, you as a competitor, you deserve someone that has your back.
Yeah.
And that is able to catch those things, even if you're, like you said, if you're nervous and you're just you're overwhelmed or whatever the situation is. You have a manager there that understands what you're trying to say, and be able to really correctly verbalize your challenge in an effective way where it translates to that potential win.
Yeah,
winning of the challenge, just to clarify, where you're able to kind of take the next step. You want that. Not all managers have that ability.
No, they don't.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. I don't want sometimes.
Real quick, though, we did have a Streamlabs come in, so I'm very excited. From Movie Fanobi. Hi, Steve. Rachel, well, hello, lovely lady. Hello, good sir. What a fine guest choice. Alex, the real Mac Daddy. A delightful young woman and friend to Queen Video Drew. Have a fabulous chat. 2021 could finally move us forward. Spread joy, Rachel, and laugh your asses off. Love, Steve. Love you too, buddy. I just adore him.
He's so wonderful. I love Steve. He's wonderful.
Just the best. Yeah. So yeah, it's nice that we now have, the Schmoedown to focus on and everything to get us past all the bullshit that happened the last few years. But what have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
I've over the past several months, because I've been moving and I'm like, guys, I just can't record and stuff like this and organize everything. I've been just in the process of moving and boxing and, doing a lot of important shit, like Googling how to set up my IKEA organization box from my closet, really important stuff here.
If I was there, I would build that for you in a heartbeat. I love that shit.
Yes, I would love to be a manager, Chris. I would love it.
I mean,
I train.
To be quite honest, if they extend the what's the FCT whatever the division the I don't want to say the minor league. It's like
first class.
The first class. Yeah, first class.
It's a development league, Rachel. Very big difference.
There's what?
It's the development league. So big difference.
Thank you. That's why I said I didn't want to say the minor league because that's not it. It's the development league. Because nobody's feeling want to get hurt. Yes, the FCL. I'm very excited for it. But it's one of those things that, like, I think that if they develop it correctly, I think that it would be really fun to see you come in as like a faction manager and then like fucking come into MTS and like take over. I think it would be fun. I think the storylines would just write itself. It would be so much fun.
I would love to do that. Let's say I am a fan league manager, and I love working with everyone in my faction. I genuinely do. I have worked with them some of them for almost 2 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But the idea, what I love about the idea about First Class League is that people that are not from the film industry can rise to the ranks, so to speak, and go into Schmoedown. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I love it. And let's face it, I'm sure Peggy is like fully aware, obviously, in the chat, and everyone else that, you know, being involved in the fan leagues can be a very difficult process. Sometimes you just don't know the right people. Sometimes it's just so competitive to get in. I know, for example, one of the leagues recently you had to do a quiz in order to even qualify.
Sure.
And there was like over 50 or 60 people that qualified. That tested, and only like 15 people actually got through. and no women got in. So that's a whole other. But only
no women wrote the questions either.
But only like four people tried out for it. But that's a whole other conversation. The thing is also like based on personal experience and depending on which group you're in. I, like I said, from personal experience, I've had a lot of negative interactions personally within the fan leagues. So it doesn't make it as fun to go into that world and potentially go into Schmoedown. Now, I do know that a lot of, but the thing is, there's a lot of really great things I do like about the fan leagues. And again, I love how you can rise to the ranks, and it's this idea that if you work your way up, it's gonna happen. Chance Ellis, Paulo Yama, killing it in the game. I mean, look at some of these other new ones. I mean, Peggy, she has her match. Who knows what's gonna happen? Maybe Marisol, Adam Collins, obviously. But the First Class League in particular, there's a handful of things I am kind of worried about. Like, I don't like the idea of veteran competitors playing because I feel like they have so much to lose and possibly very little to gain. Like Emily Rose Jacobson, I think she's improved light years since her first match. However, she's like technically like 1-3 or something like that for record. And she is, I don't know if she accepted or not to go in First Class League. And thing is, if she wins First Class League, she should have won the First Class League. Like, obviously, she's playing Schmoedown, she should. But if she doesn't win, it's going to be huge to her record. And there's going to be a lot more focus on not so much that she lost, it's that it's going to be focus on how she lost within this
and where she lost.
It's going to be but I'm excited for people like from fan leagues and people that are sent in awesome audition tapes getting in. I'm really excited for them to compete. I'm just more nervous with the veteran competitors going in, like Jared Hyben.
I mean, but I don't think he really like cares about his record. Like, it's fun to win, but he's also like, I can take this with a grain of salt, like those competitors. He's just there to have fun, and like I respect that. But then there's other people, that are super competitive that really want to win, and I'm so excited for some of them in the First Class League. Like, I'm really excited. I'm excited to see Late to the Party get back into it.
Oh my gosh, Cinefanatics.
the Cinefanatics. I'm just excited to see them like play with the characters that they have. And I would like Vanessa was in the den last year. Like she was a faction mate that never got to play because of the way that the season turned out. And it's tragic. And I'm like, she deserves all the matches and all the wins. Like it's gonna be so much fun to watch them because like there's so many people like them that are just like walking and being like, I got a chip on my shoulder. Like, no.
There were so many, especially in the draft. The draft was very weird to watch this season because I was so genuinely excited for so many people to get drafted. So many of these amazing rookies where I'm like, Amaru, he deserves it. He worked so hard to get here. Peggy, she worked there. She 100% deserves to be there. The thing is, I don't know Jeffrey Kahn. I personally don't know him, so or anything else. So I can't really comment on him. I was so surprised with a lot of competitors not getting drafted. I'm sure obviously I'm not the only one that was curious. It wasn't so much the lack of veteran it was just the preferential treatment of scratch that. It wasn't preferential treatments at all. It was just we're gonna take a rookie instead of taking a veteran competitor that has literally like a record of like 1-1 or 2-1. And so it's just like I was very surprised. I'm like, you rather have manager? What? That's an interesting choice. You already have like 3 rookies in your thing, so that's an interesting choice. But
I mean, we'll see how it plays out because literally the only like I'm so sad that we're not doing matches in studio because like literally what is happening right now is everything's happening digitally and all of the bets are sitting back in a dark corner being like, okay, kid, show me what you got.
It's just not as cool.
It's not as cool. It's not as fun. Like it should be in a studio. We should be able to like see who they are. Like at this point in the season, I should know 2/3 of the rookies that came in because most of them live in LA and they would come to tapings because they're so hungry to be a part of it. So like, I would have met and like established relationships with these rookies already. Like, and now like the only rookies I know are the ones in the den and like maybe 2 others. And it's like, it's not breeding like like it used to be like everybody knew each other, everybody hung out and everybody were friends. And now it's like, this is your faction. These are your friends. Like that's it.
Yeah, it's man, that's something actually Lucas and I actually thought about because we were actually going to take a trip down to LA and we thought about changing our Schmoedown patron tier to like the level where you can go to a live match in studio and do like the whole day thing, get pizza and everything, hang out. We were going to do that for like a month so we can go to like the live matches kind of thing because we were going to do like an anniversary kind of situation. But then this happened, so we couldn't do it.
The fact that you are like, we'll pay this exorbitant amount to go and hang out with our friends who are just going to be there anyway, and I love you.
It's a stupid amount of money. Sure, it is a stupid amount of money, but at the end of the day, everyone has their thing.
It's true.
This is my thing.
I'm just saying, just call. That's all you need to do. Just make a phone call, book a flight, and then
everyone. That and so I remember the absolute joy seeing when Late to the Party popped up on screen, going up against critically acclaimed.
Oh my God.
Whatever season. And oh my gosh, I can't imagine the absolute joy that was going on behind the scenes with everyone involved because they were just having so much fun, clearly not expecting anything. And then they won and completely becoming the real bracket breakers of the whole season. But and I really want to have that experience.
Yeah. And then go and drink until we have to all Uber home because Marnie's taking us out.
Literally that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Probably. I have no idea what Twitch is because I'm old.
Well, okay, I do hope do hope it stays on Twitch as well, just because the thing is, what I really like about First Class League is that you can really bring a lot of international competitors as well. You can introduce them. You can also bring them into regular Schmoedown, obviously. But if First Class League is much exclusively digital, then you can really get people comfortable on a whole bunch of stuff, and really investing a lot of the money it takes to put on a match. Because Rachel, do you remember how much money it costs cost Christian and Schmoedown to fly out someone like Polyama to come to an match as a rookie? How much of a risk that was financially?
Oh yeah, huge, massive.
Oh my gosh, so massive. Okay.
So big.
but you can lower a lot of that risk by doing virtual matches on Twitch instead. So.
And also now with the FCL, the amazing thing about it is that we're getting competitors from Australia and Italy, and I think there's like somebody from Germany and England, and like I think there's a Canadian or two in there. Like it's amazing. Yeah. It's so much fun. I'm so excited to watch the FCL. Like I feel like the movie trivia Schmoedown has become the NFL, and the FCL is Leatherheads.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Absolutely. It's when it comes to the First Class League, what I'm really kind of curious about is the aesthetic of it. Because as of this time, I have very limited knowledge. I'm not like one of those behind the scenes people when it comes to First Class League. I'm like friends with Paul, but I don't know all the shit that he does. I know the question writers, but I know jack squat about all that shit. So when it comes down to it, I'm really kind of curious about the aesthetic and what's at the end of the day, what's going to differentiate First Class League from Schmoedown? Because sure, Schmoedown thing is, but what if you go into Schmoedown having no idea about who these people are, and you don't realize that these are huge belt holders, that these are veterans, that these are people in the industry, these are whatever, and you see the format is the same. You see the aesthetic, the overlays, the intros, all the types of interviews, all that good stuff is the cutscenes, all that good stuff is the same. So, what's the difference?
They're gonna have to bring it in the vibe.
Is it the quality of the actual competitor? Because I have to be honest, I expect all of these people being in First Class League to bring their shit.
Yeah.
And so, but I also expect everyone in Schmoedown to also bring their shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know what the difference is yet.
I mean, I'm excited. I don't either, but I'm excited to find out because I got a bunch of friends in the FCL, like we've named before, and Max Haddad is playing. I'm so fucking.
Oh my gosh, I can't
wait. My god, that guy is gonna destroy some shit. It's gonna be brutal. I'm so excited. But yeah. So you started doing this. You're trying to work towards 300 movies this year. Am I seeing that right on Twitter?
Yeah.
How's that going?
I'm on movie number like 65 or 66 or something right now. And thing is, it's not so much I'm watching movies. I'm watching movies for the first time. I'm watching completely new movies. I watched Reservoir Dogs for the first time yesterday.
Thoughts?
I watch Tim Roth is beautiful. That's my thoughts.
100%.
Tim Roth.
And in that suit.
Like I associated Tim Roth with the show Lie to Me for like years.
Yes.
I didn't really associate him with Tarantino movies, and so I was like, news.
Well, hello.
All right. But I watched like Taxi Driver for the first time, Color of Money. I watched a few Ghibli films for the first time.
Nice.
So it's definitely a learning experience. I'm trying to go outside my comfort zone.
What's been your favorite so far?
Dolomite.
Really?
I actually really love it. Since I watched it in February for Son of Ice, I've seen it like 3 times. I'm talking about the original blaxploitation. I'm not talking about Dolomite is my name. I'm talking about the original 1975 Dolomite.
Right.
Roger Moore movie. It's so weird.
It is.
And I just love the casual, hey, where does I have a bunch of women learning kung fu in the background that also just happens to work at a brothel? like
Where else are you supposed to learn kung fu?
Like who doesn't? I'm into it. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it.
What's been one that you're like, no, I'm really glad I missed that one. Like, this is the one and only time I'm watching this.
Color of Money.
Really?
By Marty Scorsese.
Have you seen The Hustler, though?
I love The Hustler.
So you love The Hustler and hate The Color of Money?
Yes. The Hustler is actually one of my personal top 10 sports movies of all time. Like, I love that movie. I also think Paul Newman is everything, obviously. Like,
are you kidding? The man owns a salad dressing company. Of course he's
everything. He donates all of it to charity.
Right?
Who gave him the audacity to look that good while doing charity?
Is he that generation's Mark Ellis?
Shut the front door. What?
Did I just make that connection?
Rachel, boo-boo. What?
He is.
I guess so, maybe.
Wow.
But he is quite stunning. He is absolutely quite stunning. And so and I think even as an older man in his 60s, 70s, beyond, I think today he's quite stunning. But watching that, and I like Tom Cruise, and I like earlier Mark Scorsese, and I was like, yeah, that's not good.
That's fair. I mean, do you think
Whitaker was in it, which it had a cute little cameo, but I was like,
do you think your view got skewed on that movie because you love The Hustler so much?
No. Okay. It was a messy film, actually. I think I think film people in general have a slightly higher standard when it comes to Scorsese movies. We expect something a little extra. And this movie, he did it a little bit after Raging Bull, I want to say. This movie was like from 85, 86. I could be wrong.
Money? Yeah.
More Money? Yeah, Tom Cruise. With Tom Cruise, he's fantastic. But the music is really wonky. It's like it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't want to be a crime heist movie, or it doesn't want to be like a full-on sports movie. And if you're going to merge them together, have it make sense. And it just felt very messy. There was a few plot holes, and I was like, what? But what happened to that guy? Did nothing happen? Why that guy? Then what was his purpose? That character's purpose? What happened to her that they just forgot about?
Has there been a good sports heist movie that I'm just blanking on right now?
I feel like there is, but I can't.
It's more heist than sport, but Lucky Number 11. Lucky Number 11 is a really good one.
Let's see. Sports movies. Nikes. Sports crime movies. Okay, so the definition of crime movie, of sports movies, can be a little skewed because you can also technically involve like Rounders with Ed Norton and Matt Damon, technically in sports movies.
Does IMDb call that a sports movie? Does it really?
I don't know.
Oh, that's awful.
Point Break, is he technically one?
Point Break would be one. Yeah, The Town would be one. The Town is one. If Lucky Number 11 is one.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're heist movies, but they take place at a sporting event.
But is the sport like a real big focus? Like, do we watch them? Does it have to do with the heist, or is it like background noise?
I mean, kind of. Lucky Number 11's done at a car race thing because didn't one of the brothers get arrested?
Okay, well,
Logan Lucky, thank you, not Lucky Number 11.
Yes, Logan Lucky. It takes place. Because I think racing is 100% sport.
Absolutely.
But that could literally take place. They could change it to like a basketball game or something, and it wouldn't change a thing. Really. So it's like,
you know what? Maybe we need somebody to write the world's first really good sports like heist movie.
I think the potential is there. It really, really is.
Like, you travel from city to city, get me a cat burglar.
Yo, yes.
You know, give me some corporate espionage.
Oh, here, I got one.
Oh,
Longest Yard.
Is it a heist movie?
Scratch that. It's more of a it's like a crime.
It's a crime. I mean, he commits a sporting crime. I love those movies too. I actually just went back and rewatched the 1970s one, and that was amazing.
Wait, Balls of Fury?
That's a sport movie. There's no heisting. Oh wait, are they? Who are they stealing?
I don't know. I feel like there was something.
No, definitely. What were they taking back? Oh my god.
Yo, everyone in the chat. Alan, you're my dude. Alan's actually in my faction. Ryan is actually my faction. Alan, tell me what the answer is for. This will be like part of our next training session.
You know what? He brings it up. The killing is a robbery at a racetrack if you consider horse racing. Horse racing is 100% a sport.
Oh, absolutely. Have you seen
jockeys?
Oh my gosh, they are solid. Yeah.
This has become one of my favorite tangents, by the way.
I like Family Cops too, so I can't really comment on that. But yeah,
I forgot that it takes place at a racehorse or at a horse race.
This has become a training session. Just saying.
I mean, every time we talk, that's all. Like this is we'll literally be talking about like recipes and everything, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh my god, do you remember the grilled cheese and chef? Oh,
the grilled cheese and chef. I remember the girl. I think what I was a little I actually I made a gif of that on Twitter. It was just like the Twitter thread thing was name a character
who did less with or who did more with less.
Yeah, it was like name a smaller character that did the most or something. And I posted a gif of him making the grilled cheese from Chef. Because in my opinion, that's the most iconic moment from the movie. If you're walking away from the movie, you're not talking about Jon Favreau, you're not talking about RDJ or ScarJo, you're not talking about that little kid in his social media. And also, how does every kid in a movie with business always have to become the social media fanatic?
Because it the trope that adults don't understand the technology.
Exactly. No, it's the grilled cheese is your big takeaway, that you demand a grilled cheese after watching that movie.
Well, I mean, it's one of those movies. Chef is one of those movies that a movie called Tortilla Soup, which if you haven't seen it,
no, girl, I've seen that movie. It's actually almost essentially a scene for scene remake of one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, directed by Ang Lee.
I need to watch this.
It's a Taiwanese film. It's wonderful.
And I mean,
don't go in hungry.
That's the thing, is like there are these movies that you like legit cannot watch without having food either directly in front of you or on its way to you. Like, what was it? And PJ posted something about Chef, and I was like, this is a movie that I have to time very specifically with my food delivery. Otherwise, my tummy gets jealous. And like, it's 100% true. Like, it's that those two movies, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. I have to have a burger in front of me. You haven't?
No.
Oh.
It's on my list. I have like a list of like 500 movies.
Oh my god.
That I need to see. And thing is, I have one of my big bias, like because I talk about this with Drew quite a bit. We talk about personal biases, and I usually really dislike stoner comedies.
Sad, but they're so.
I also have a real big bias against 90s comedies. Like I hate American Pie so much. I cannot get into. Billy Madison grosses me the fuck out. Oh god, I can't. It's.
I mean, the 90s was very much like the super bro era.
But also it's. And I don't like. I really just think though. Whoa, dude! Like no one. I know a lot of stoners. None of them are like that.
No.
American Pie is awful.
Promania. Yeah. She does. It's we've had this talk before, right?
Yeah, Rachel. Yeah. I don't care about what's his face, but it's fine.
Ethan Embry.
No, well, the thing is, I didn't fall in love with anyone from the movie. The thing is, I was annoyed with everyone in the movie.
Oh, well, yeah, they're the worst people ever.
Yeah, everyone. It's awful. Like it's like watching a movie about actively bad people. It's like watching a Scorsese film.
Well, you're not supposed to like anyone in a Scorsese film.
The thing is, okay, everyone in a Scorsese film, you're not supposed to like, but you walk out like justifying their actions or liking them to a certain extent because they're anti-heroes or whatever the fuck they're pitched as. Like, the thing is, almost everyone except Deborah, what's her face is Rex Manning's character. She's the only one I like. Mm-hmm. Her.
Yeah, she plays the manager. Oh my god, what is her name?
I only remember her in particular because I really liked her cooking show on the Cooking Channel. forever ago.
She was the main villain in Beethoven.
And she was also one of the villains behind Batman Forever with Drew Barrymore, remember? Remember, like, Two-Face's, like, am I mixing one with Batman?
Spice?
Like, remember Two-Face had, like, two girls with him?
Yeah, like, Sugar and Spice.
Yeah, she was Spice.
I need to rewatch that movie.
Girl, I love that movie. That movie is so bad.
Chris, we will be celebrating Rex Manning Day. My show falls on April 8th. We'll take care of it.
It's a holiday.
Yeah.
It's a holiday.
AJ is a cool guy.
No, AJ's not a cool guy.
No. Oh, sorry, AJ. I thought somebody in the chat was AJ.
Sorry.
I thought AJ no,
I thought characters from Empire.
Yeah, no, but also like they're teenagers. They're like in their late teens, early 20s. They're the worst people on earth. Like
that's why I remember it. I'm like, yeah, they are purposefully awful.
Yeah,
I hate them.
Because I hate everyone in that age group.
But even
for the most part.
But even a heavy majority of the adults, I'm like, why are you allowing this behavior? If anything, you're rewarding this behavior, reinforcing them that it is okay to behave like this.
I mean, I did really want a boss like Joe. And not just because I had a crush on him.
But yeah, no, absolutely. He is quite stunning in the movie. However, if you were in his role, even if you had a bunch of kid employees, running a business that is falling into bankruptcy and your life's work is going into this.
Yeah.
You're having a conversation. You're firing some bitches. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. What's with today? I love that movie.
Okay, Renee Zellweger is just a vibe in that movie.
Welcome to Music Town. May I service you?
She's a vibe.
I mean, every single actor, every single character in that movie is a very specific vibe. Like you can literally track yourself emotionally by which Empire Records employee you are that day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're Rex Manning, don't go on social media. Don't talk to people.
Well, the thing is, when I was in high school, I think looking back, I feel like I tried essentially to be a girl that was like Renee Zellweger's character.
Yeah.
Try to be cool. I was most virginal girl you'll ever meet in high school.
Wait, that's not Renee Zellweger.
No, the thing is, I tried to be cool in that. Like, I tried to be cool. I tried to come off more mature than I was. I tried to be sassy, and I like as if I was always funny, and or I was always like having that attitude, whatever. And so, but watching her character in that movie, I was like, yeah, I tried so hard to be like her when I was like 17.
I mean, we all did.
Yeah, we all try to be cool.
Yeah, no one would be cool and sassy and snarky. Maybe a little slutty, but just a touch. But then most of us grow out of it, unless you fake it until you make it, and that just becomes who you are.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of funny, like watching that. What I feel like personally is a real big problem to me is I'm an immense people pleaser. That's actually a real big problem for me because, like when it comes to like family, friends, or whatever it might be, I have a really, really hard time turning people down, and I am actively trying to get people to like me, even if I know for a fact, no matter what I do, they will never like me. And it's a very toxic relationship to have with people, especially if like they're your bosses, coworkers, partners, friends, or what you think is friends.
Yeah, when you're trying to be something you're not, to get the approval of somebody that doesn't deserve it, like yeah. Fuck, I'm so glad I'm out of my teens.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got that literally whipped out of me on Warped Tour, because like nobody cares. Nobody cares who you are. If you're a good person and you're fun to hang out with, you'll have friends. If you're a dick and you're, just some sarcastic asshole, nobody wants to hang out with you.
Yeah, it's very easy. I think also as we kind of get older, we just recognize a lot of behaviors a lot quicker. Obviously, we kind of trained ourselves to recognize that a lot faster and just more efficiently. But also, I recognize that, I see it, and I'm like, that is awful. You're a horrible human being. But same time, I want you to like me anyway. It's a very stupid mindset to have, and I am actively, personally, am trying to break out of that.
It's hard.
It's weird. It's a very difficult process to have, especially if you've been rewarded for that behavior for almost your entire life.
Yep. Yeah.
Work in progress, y'all.
It's hard. It's worth it though. It's worth it. Yeah. Be your best self and people will like you for who you are. 100%.
But what if you're a bad person that doesn't like Empire Records?
Well, then there are other horrible people that don't like Empire Records. Go on the internet. They're all there. If there's anything to be angry about, you can find somebody that's angry about that thing with you. Actually, it's one of those things that, as a teenage girl, you kind of formed friendships with the girls who hated the same people and the same things that you did. Like that was what it was. Like don't get me wrong. But it's one of those joys of like there's nothing better than sitting with your best friend at a party that you don't really want to be at and hating on the same people. Like there's just some weird joy in that.
Not just like the same people, like it's kind of weird how taking joy in both hating the same thing. Like I take such joy talking with my husband about how much I actively disliked Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I take such joy in talking with my friends and tearing that fucking movie down to smithereens. But I will also have a conversation with friends that or family that really genuinely loved it, and I'm so excited for them. But I don't have as much joy in the conversation. Like I'm not as excited.
That's fair. So now, are you referring to the new Justice League or the old Justice League? Because I haven't seen the new one yet. Because
the old one's not great either, obviously. No. But there's a lot of problems with the new one. But I feel like it's kind of moot point. So
yeah, I just don't think I'll ever be disappointed by any movie more than I was with sitting in a theater with the biggest screen possible in front of me and looking at Henry Cavill's beautiful face, but being so angry about the distortion of his mouth, of his beautiful, beautiful mouth, because of the bad CGI. Like, I don't think I've ever been that just like...
What's kind of sucks about that scene in particular is that I feel like that's actually a really, really great moment that's ruined by this. Because I think there's...
focus on anything.
Yeah, it's like so actively distracting. But I think it's actually really that intro at the very beginning. I think it's actually a really important moment because I think it really kind of sets up this idea that people idolize him. He's a myth. He is a savior, and people are there's a lot of people that are, obviously genuinely hate him, considering he completely wrecked a city, completely making it completely destitute. But he also saves a lot of people as well. And he brings in a lot of hope to a lot of people. And that scene really embodies that. But it's so bad.
You can't see that. It takes so much concentration to get to that point of realizing what that scene is for, other than making like your eye twitch because the CGI was just so fucking bad.
It's so disappointing.
Well, this got posted by BC. Love you so dearly. I'm so proud of you. You put in the work. It's gonna fucking happen. I love this. If it means anything, I take such joy in taking down Michael Bay's Transformers.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Also, something to remember is that I feel like Michael Bay is telling people to do that, because by telling people to take down his movies, it also by extension makes his movies more popular and more talked about, and therefore it gets him more money. So he's like, yeah, I don't fucking care. I got the paycheck, so.
It's that old adage of no press is bad press.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's like, wow, cool. I don't care what you're saying as long as you're saying my name.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is one of my favorite things.
You didn't know that? Oh my gosh.
It's one. You know what I'm sad about is there are so few of those moments of realization that like happen with people that like have seen movies over and over that I'm like, oh, did you realize this? They're like, oh, what? And I'm like, yeah, they're so rare for me because I'm so hyper observant when I watch movies now. But that is one of my favorite ones. I love Stardust. He was in Stardust and The Count of Monte Cristo. Yeah, dude, Count of Monte Cristo is so good. I watched that movie over and over again.
It's really, it's really, really funny. Okay, so fun fact. So Jim Caviezel in that movie, he is good friends with Patrick. What's his name? He's in son of a bitch. He's in Aquaman as the bad dude.
Wilson.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson. Thank you. He actually introduced because the romantic lead, his romantic lead in Count of Monte Cristo. I feel awful. I can't remember her name, but he introduced her to Patrick Wilson, who ended up getting married.
What?
They ended up getting married to each other. Patrick Wilson and that lady in Count of Monte Cristo are married, and they have been together for like 15 years. They have like 2 kids, 2 beautiful children.
Dagmara Dominexky?
The lady with the dark hair and the blue eyes. Am I wrong? Am I mixing my people? Am I mixing my people? Give me a hot second.
Oh no, that's her. Yeah, Damara. Dagmara.
Yeah, she's not like really well known for a lot of things. Like if you saw her face, you'd recognize her.
Yeah.
But it's so really weird, and she's also one of those actresses who I feel like when she talks, she never really moves her mouth. But then I miss you, and I just waited with my son, who's yours, Edmund. Like she never fully opens her mouth.
I think is she British? Because I find that to be true in a lot of Brits, like unless they're like stage actors.
I have no flipping clue, to be honest.
Oh, she was in the pilot of Suits. It's been a while since I've watched that. I really liked that show, though.
I've never seen it. I've heard almost exclusively good things, to be honest. I don't watch TV anymore, oddly enough.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, to be fair, it's the season, so anything TV related, like literally the only exceptions I've made has been I've watched the end of The Mandalorian.
I haven't seen it, to be honest.
And I watched WandaVision, and now I'm watching Winter Soldier. I can talk tonight. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm so excited for the episode later tonight. We'll see if I end up staying up for it, but
yeah, I totally agree. Those are fantastic. I haven't been scratch that. I actually have been watching TV. I watch those. However, in between watching movies and trying to hit my 300 new movies before the year goal, I have been going through deep dives into multi-level marketing videos on YouTube.
That's a rabbit hole to jump down for sure.
So much fun. I went into a rabbit hole of like a few months ago before I moved about just talking about European monarchy history in particular. Like, fun fact, did you know Queen Elizabeth, the current Queen Elizabeth, actually ended up marrying her second cousin, Prince Philip, and he started courting her when she was 13 years old, when he was 18 years old, and they are second cousins by their same maternal grandmother. That was a second child of Queen Victoria. So, fun fact for you. Another fun fact for you is that Queen Elizabeth is not English at all. She's German and Scottish. The first English monarch that's going to be, if the monarchy is still going to be a thing and however long, it's going to be Prince George. And that's because Kate Middleton is 85% English. And so he's going to be the first British monarch in like 300 years to actually be English.
Oh my God.
English blood.
But it's okay because they're white.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. You can't have a crown unless you're white. Yeah. Fucking Brits. I mean, I love Britain. I love the UK. But it's hearing all about that bullshit. I was very upset.
I know a lot of it. The thing is, when it comes to situations like that, I wonder how, because obviously media is able to be manipulated. And I wonder how, like, things I believe when someone tells me something bad happened, my first impulse is to believe them wholeheartedly. I don't know. I have not been following them on the papers and all that good stuff. This is a horrible situation that happened to her. I wonder how much of the specifics, just how much of it is true. The little details behind the scenes, I have no clue.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear like an interview like that happen, I wonder how much of it is true. Whenever there's an interview with like George Clooney or some prime minister or whatever, I'm like, probably not true, like that percentage. But when I hear something like that, I'm like, I don't know. It's nuts. It's totally believable.
Yeah, and also like humans are just programmed to believe the most outlandish things. Like we're like, that's probably true.
As proved by the popularity of multi-level marketing schemes through the pandemic that have completely thrived. The amount of people that have been added into multi-level marketing schemes, such as It Works and Plexus, have went from like 18 million people to like 23 million people, something bonkers like that. And so it just hurts my heart.
Can we just like go back to survival of the fittest? Because like,
sorry, I took this in a kind of a negative tone. I apologize.
Oh, girl, please. It's totally fine. Oh yes, I've been told this as well. Ted Lasso is apparently like a jewel of a TV show, which obviously like I deeply, deeply love him. He always makes me laugh.
Is Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde still married? Is that true?
I don't know. I heard they broke up, but again, I'm not in LA anymore, so.
No. They were like my favorite couples. They're like John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. No, but.
Oh no, they're gonna last forever.
I want them to last forever.
They have to. They have movies to make for me.
For me, it's not about y'all, okay?
Yeah, it's not about their relationship. It's about my media consumption. And hopefully one day there will be a slice for just them.
Oh, please.
I mean, we can have Matt and Ben and Sly and Arnie. We can fucking have Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. I'm just saying.
Hey, let's see. Was it Pacino and De Niro was its own slice for like 2 seasons? It's not anymore technically. But Matt and Ben still slice. I want more dual categories.
Right.
Please and thank you. Is Ted Lasso on Apple TV?
I think so, yeah. I think it's on Apple Plus.
Because I do not have it.
Yeah, I don't either. I need to hold on. Yes, I'm dying for that.
I will wait for that at theaters.
Yeah.
I would totally wait for that, to be honest. There's some movies where I'm like Cruella, I don't need to see them in theaters. Like,
No.
like I'm excited to see them.
You know what? That's fine. That means I can move back to LA and seduce Sudeikis.
Sudeikis is just such a
slice. Wonderful.
Oh.
I think my favorite role of his has to be the principal in Booksmart.
Oh my gosh.
It's just so awkward. It's just so awkward. I love it.
Oh my gosh. That's, let's see. Yeah, it's like, have you seen the movie Drinking Buddies?
I love that movie. Oh my god. That movie and Sleeping with Other People.
Yo, oh my gosh. That movie is so great.
So good.
In terms of dramedy, in terms of comedy, oh my gosh, the whole birthday scene.
Oh god, they show up on drugs to a kid's birthday. I also love it.
It's also like the most on point.
Yeah. It's like this is what happens when you invite your single friends that are 30 in their 30s to your child's birthday party. They're gonna show up on drugs.
Also, like Adam Scott in that movie kind of broke me a little bit. I was like, not so much like his character in particular broke me. It was just like, I don't want to see Adam Scott in a role like that.
Yeah.
Like a manipulative, emotional and manipulative fuck. And I'm like, that's not him.
I mean, that's how I feel about my relationship with Patrick Wilson has been difficult from the get-go, because one of the first movies I ever saw him in was Hard Candy, and he is such a good actor that it ruined my perception. Like, it literally like colored my perception of him to the point where I did not like him. It's not that I literally thought, like, in my head rationally, I'm like, he's a good person, like I'm sure he's just lovely and wonderful and charming and funny, and I would love to like hang out with him. But in my brain, in my psycho movie watching brain that like snaps over in charge when I think of him, it was like, he's a pedophile, he's an awful fucking person. And it like,
I actually had that thought process towards a handful of actors. I actually thought that process, it was like I couldn't help it. I was like, no matter what, I've seen this guy in like 10 million movies, but this I every time I see him as an actor in a movie, I'm like, this pedophile. And I think it's very specific to once you see someone as a pedophile in a movie, it's in part, I think, versus like a serial killer or a murderer or a general bully or something like that. It's something about it. A pedophile is very specific. I think that's a little bit different, or just one that attacks children. That's a very different conversation versus like Hannibal Lecter or something. But Stanley Tucci in Lovely Bones, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, justifiably so. It's also it's actually one of my favorites Peter Jackson movies. I think it's definitely an underrated Peter Jackson movie. A lot of people forget that he directed it, and I think it's creative. But that aside, Stanley Tucci, he is completely menacing in the role, and he's so. I remember like there was like a scene where I just couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Also, I saw it for the first time when I was like 16 or 17, so I was right around that age. It's, oh God, it's hard to watch. It really, really is. And especially with the ending, you don't feel like there is a real resolution for the family.
Yeah. There's no closure.
Yeah. And that's the point.
Yeah.
And so, oh man, it's hard.
Yeah. I think what finally snapped me out of like my Patrick Wilson hate was literally watching him sing Fools Rush In. And I was like, oh, he's so dreamy. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? After like a decade of me being like, pedophile. It clicked over, and now I mean, I always thought that he was a great actor, but now I'm like, I adore him. Like, he needs, like, I'm so sad that he's not like in everything, but also like, if he's happy not being in everything, I just want him to be happy. Just like keep being happy and turn out these great roles for me, please. Thank you.
Well, I actually still need to see anything from the Conjuring franchise. That's something I still need to see those movies. That's one of the 500 movies I need to see. That's on my list. I've seen like one or two of the Saw movies. I can't do body horror. Like that's like I can't. I've seen Hostel, but
see, I can't do Hostel. Like I know what happens. I started watching one scene, like the first like really graphic scene, and I was like, I'm out. I can't. Nope.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to Hostel in particular, the thing is, I don't like body horror. I saw Evil Dead for the first time like a year or two ago, and I saw Army of Darkness, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. How is this coming into my life now? When it comes to body horror, thing is, I saw Hostel with a group a long while ago, but I was like this the entire time. And so I remember very little to nothing about it. I heard everything, which I feel like in hindsight made it much more traumatic in its own way.
Yeah.
But I also was reading articles about it, about horror. And at the time I wasn't a huge into movie theory and analysis or anything, and it was talking about like horror movies and trauma, and it brought up Hostel in particular, how it's actually a story about immigrants, the immigrant story, and it's about classism, racism, and how it's based off of a real article that was not based on a true story, but was inspired by an article that was written. It was like about a Time article, like Times magazine article that was based in Thailand about a mercenary group that will literally bring in a person of the gender, race, and age that you want. And if you want to kill them, you just pay them so much money and they will get that person of your choice essentially for you, and you just like pay to kill them. It was, and so this movie, the script was inspired by that article, that real article, that was a real story. But Eli Roth actually wanted to make the script based on that story much more directly. And he went to Thailand and was like, actually, fuck this. I can't do this. This is too scary.
No.
And so he wrote Hostel.
That's terrifying. And now I for sure will never ever fucking watch that movie. And I'm if I miss a 5-pointer on them and lose a match for that, I'm fine with that. Like, dear
sweet. That plays the devil dude in Suicide Squad. That's all you need to know.
Diablo, yeah.
Diablo, that dude. Yeah.
Jay Hernandez. Oh, are you kidding me? Crazy Sexy Love.
Oh no, it's not Crazy Sexy Love. It's
Crazy
called Crazy Beautiful. Okay, with Kirsten. Trust me.
It's the only time I wanted to be Kirsten Dunst.
Oh my gosh. I feel bad watching that movie. I get so distracted watching it because the entire time I'm like thinking, lady, put on a bra. Something. Because it's like when we were talking about earlier, I was like, this is just like with Superman, whereas like I'm so distracted. This is a really great moment, but I'm so distracted by the mustache. I'm so distracted by her tits.
Oh my god.
Around, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I would be braless too if I were that small or whatever.
Right.
But it's just they were blown out, and I'm like,
and also, it's the summertime. Why are you so fucking cold?
Like,
it's like how I can't watch Friends anymore for different reasons, but also like there was a very long period of time where they cranked the AC in that studio so that Rachel Green would just be constantly on high beams, and it was the most it was one of those things that I was like, can we just not, please?
I really, really dislike the show Friends. Not only that, but I think that show is like incredible. It rewards a lot of really bad behavior, a lot of aggressively racist and sexist behavior.
I mean, I remember watching it when it first came out, and I was devastated when it ended because it was on for 10 years and it was literally half my life. And like, you know, and also back then, like, we didn't know any better. Like, it was funny back then, but going back and watching it through today's lens, you're like, oh,
yeah.
That was the wrong choice.
A fucking prick about his son playing with a Barbie. Like, why is he being such an asshole, like a raging asshole, being offended with his masculinity by his son having the gall to play with a Barbie?
Yeah.
My son. No, don't you want to play G.I. Joe? No, fuck.
No, he likes to accessorize. Let him do that. He can end up working for Calvin Klein. It'll be fine.
Also, do whatever the fuck he wants. Maybe he does decide he wants to play G.I. Joes, but maybe he wants to do it later. Let him try something. It's not about you, Ross. But I digress. Phoebe's great, but everyone else can suck a fatty.
Yeah, but even Phoebe, like we can go down that whole deconstructing Friends and how awful.
Oh my gosh, anyway.
Oh my god.
Or like all the fat shaming, the slut shaming, or like the casual disregard for trauma.
Yeah, 100%. Although I did love Fat Monica. I really,
I think she's great, but they just keep bringing it up, and but thing is, a lot. What's something I think was really unusual is that with that show in particular is that, her OCD apparently wasn't a thing until after she lost the weight, obviously, right? And so they never really addressed it in the show. In a particular way, because she's not just a clean freak. She does have a legitimate problem.
Yeah.
She vacuums the inside of her vacuum. That's a problem. I would be surprised if she uses a toothbrush on her anus. She's that kind of OCD. That's a problem. You need therapy.
Yeah, there are drugs for that, and you'll feel better.
There are different ways to find healing.
Yes. So many drugs and so many people to talk to. Yeah, I think it would be really interesting if because aren't they supposed to do like a reunion show or something for HBO?
I don't know.
I think they taped it, and it'll be really interesting to see because like you said, Ross was kind of an asshole. He was a massive douche nozzle regarding some issues, but it'll be interesting to see how they keep how they maintain certain characters with being able to view them through today's lens, because it has been 25 years since they've been on TV. No, 15.
And it's also kind of really interesting how it's still beloved in a pretty extensively by a lot of people.
Right.
And for some people, it's completely untouchable. It's perfect. And for other people, it's one of the worst rated, one of the worst aged shows, in particular.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot you would have to address.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. What movie are you so excited to see back in theaters? What's the first one you want to go to?
I would have loved to see Kong vs. Godzilla. There's very few movies I feel like I feel like I need to see in theaters. I would have loved to see Endgame and Infinity War and all that good stuff in any way I can, but seeing it in jam-packed movie theater, thousands of fans, it was such an experience. And I feel like that movie in particular would also be so much fun to see it as well. Obviously we won't, but one day. Yeah, but there's a lot of older films I would love to see in theaters, like Lawrence of Arabia. Oh my gosh, I would love to see that in theaters.
Yeah, I think the first one realistically that I'm super excited to see in theaters, that I'm I don't care. I will wait for the 10-year anniversary to watch this so I can watch it properly. Is Top Gun Maverick. The whole thing about Top Gun and how amazing it was back in the day was the fact that you felt like you were in the cockpit, with those shots and everything. And that's how they shot the second one. And I'm if you don't see it on the big screen, that would it would break my fucking heart.
What would break my fucking heart is not getting a volleyball scene.
Oh,
with watch flex, real big up close. That's what I need.
I want to feel the sweat.
As a 30-year-old woman, I just need some moments to just.
I just need some sweaty boys in jean shorts and jeans playing sand volleyball.
And I'm one of the few people that actually like. I like Miles Teller. I know he's considered an asshole and everything, but I don't know personally. But I do think he's a really talented actor. But I'm excited to see him in this movie, and apparently he has this like mullet situation, which I'm really here for.
I mean, yeah, I've heard reports that
I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm kind of here for it.
I mean, I've heard reports that he's been, you know, not the nicest person on the set in some instances, but also like, I love his work. It makes me laugh so hard. Like, there's legit, like, Whiplash is perfection.
Yeah.
That movie's so good. And then he does movies like 21 and Over, which, if you've watched the show before, you know how my undying love for that movie. It is so stupid and so much fun.
That movie is a clusterfuck for me to watch. That movie is so hard for me to watch. Like, it's not so much it's like a bad movie. Like, I watch it, I'm like, this is a good movie. But the entire time, I have such anxiety.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, it's an important interview. Med school. Well, he's gonna go partying.
And then Jeff Chang gets drunk and they super glue a penis or a teddy bear to his penis and he runs out. Oh god, that scene is.
And there's like, it's like, well, like they kind of made like a few things be like, don't you Asians like know each other? And he's like, we don't always know each other. Wait, oh shit, I do know him. No,
what do you want, motherfucker? The mouth on this one. That movie makes me so happy.
I watch it and I'm like, this is a really great movie. The anxiety.
I love those. I don't love those because I love that movie. I love that movie so much. But then I can't go and watch like Meet the Parents.
Oh, I hate that movie.
I can't watch it. It gives me so much anxiety because like De Niro very much reminds me of my father in that situation. And so it's one of those,
like in a good way or a bad way?
I mean, well, my dad was a security guard who was an ex-bodybuilder who had 3 daughters.
Bam.
Yeah. So yeah, he was very much like the overprotective like father, like, but we all had him wrapped around our little finger. Loved him. But like it just gave me such anxiety when that movie first came out because I was like, oh my god, this is going to be my dad. Like this is what it's going to be like bringing home the guy I want to marry, and it would like literally cause me to have like a panic attack while watching the movie. Be like, no. It was bad.
It's kind of weird how we have. I feel like every girl I know has an actor that kind of triggers that effect for him. For me, it's Kevin Costner. His tone of voice reminds me, and just like his general mannerisms remind me a lot of my dad. And at certain angles, his profile looks a little too similar for my liking. Like if you're dead on, no. But I mean, at certain angles and everything it does, and it just like it, when there's like if it's like a heartfelt moment, I'm like, nope, fuck this, nope.
Well, I mean, if we're going on looks, my dad looked just like Stallone. So like when I went to go see Last Blood, Rambo Last Blood, like that whole first half of the movie is him basically just being a good dad. And I remember sitting in the Burbank AMC with like a guy sitting like 2 seats over from me in, remember, Rambo movie. And I'm sitting there sobbing because he looked like he had the same mannerisms, looked just like him. I'm sitting there like sobbing to the point where like the guy like kind of reaches over and he's like, "You okay?" Like and hands me a napkin, and I'm like, "I'm fine. Like the second half will be better."
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that happens. Like I feel that way towards certain actresses. And my mom, like whenever I see Susan Sarandon and Stepmom.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you can't watch that movie without sobbing your eyes out.
Oh yeah, that is like one of the. I have a handful of friends that say, "Oh, I've never cried to a movie before." They're like, it's like that opening scene from Jerry Maguire where the girl's like, I'm not that girl that cries at Titanic. I'm not that girl that cries during this. And I'm like, you haven't seen Stepmom.
Yeah.
Okay, so calm the fuck down, but also don't talk down to girls that do cry in movies because there's something wrong with crying with movies. So let's
Yeah.
stop the shaming here. But that's another conversation for another day. But that Stepmom is such a wonderful, wonderful movie, and that's a movie I think is probably one of the more perfect films where it ages so perfectly. I wouldn't change a word of the script if it was remade for today.
It could directly be remade for today. It wouldn't have to be touched at all. But also like I wouldn't even know who to cast in that because Susan Sarandon and Julia Roberts do such a beautiful job in their roles, like both separately and together. Like it's just magic.
I absolutely agree, and they have such a they're so successful with bringing very different presences to the screen, and I think Ed Harris as this conflicted father that is on clearly loves both these women, and he's like, you're the mother of my children, you are my ex-wife, and I respect the fuck out of you, and you're going through this horrible situation. I do love this woman, she is my fiance, or I can't remember, wife or fiance or girlfriend, but I love her too, and she is also going to be raising my children with me one day after you pass. And this is a very complicated situation, and the kids realize everything, but there's a real level of especially in terms of when divorces comes up on screen, it's so easy to just pivot them against each other, and it's so much harder to show a very cohesive relationship, but also show a relationship that does have problems, but they make it work, and they show a real respect and growth with each other in the relationship. It's very hard to do. It's very hard to put into words for a script, let alone to direct on a film.
Yeah.
That did it so perfectly.
It nailed it. Yeah, there's always that, like, I never liked that stepmom trope, and everyone knows how big of a Disney fan I am, but fucking Disney starts it off, and you get this idea as a child that stepmoms are evil and awful, and like
this whole thing.
Which is so bizarre because, like, my stepmom was amazing. Like, she's such a wonderful human being. Like, I could not pick two women better to raise me than these two. Like, oh my God, they're so fantastic. So it's like why put undue pressure for millions of women that are just trying to like love a child? Like,
it's easy to, and let's face it, there's in Disney, especially in classic Disney movies, as you very well know, being a Disney fanatic yourself, women in Disney, especially as parents, a lot of mothers are dead in Disney movies, or they're made out to be villains. And so it's a real, whether it be from Tangled, whether it be Cinderella, Snow White.
She gets kidnapped.
Yeah, but as far as she's concerned, that is her only mother figure since it is her mother, and she raises her full-heartedly. She's, as far as she knows, she's not in a stepmother situation. That is her real mother. But
it's a real shitty situation. But a lot of I do appreciate the fact that there's a lot of movies out there that like took that position and like elevated it and like made it be like, no, stepmoms are great. Like, shut up, it's fine.
It's a very, very difficult job as well. It's a crazy difficult job.
Like, I don't like kids to begin with, but like bringing another person's child into your life that like has a certain way of living that has already been established, like that's real rough. Like, and it's rough on everyone. So
it's already hard enough be like having a relationship with another person, but having a relationship with someone with a child who already has it in their head that they're going to hate you. They're nonstop going to be comparing you to their
other parent,
their other mom, their real mom, or whatever their situation is. It's where there's no right way to go about it. It's just like a learning curve. It's downright impossible. And I do want to mention in real life, obviously, it's a very different situation. Stepmoms are fantastic. no shaming here. But in terms of film, thing is, stepmoms, it's very easy to vilify the stepmom figure. It's a trope.
Yeah.
It's been going on forever. I dare you to give me 10 solid stepmoms in film that we know and love in a movie where they're not only a good mom, but they have a name and a speaking role. And they're actually someone that you recognize.
You're asking so much.
Well, I want the stepmom to be like an actual character, not someone that has. I'm not talking about Carmen Electra in Cheaper by the Dozen 3, who is a stepmom to the wife and stepmom of Eugene Levy. Like, I'm not talking about that. No. Yeah, just give you a good pull. Bam.
Renee Russo in Yours, Mine, and Ours.
I haven't seen that, but there you go.
So good. It's also a remake of a movie that was done, I want to say, in the 50s. It's really good. It's kind of like a Brady Bunch type movie where like the guy's got like 2 sons and a daughter, and the wife's got like 2 girls and a son or something like that. And they all move into the house together, and like the kids start battling against each other, and then they start battling against the parents. Like it's a really cute, fun family movie. But like Renee Russo's a good mom. Good mom.
I do like Renee Russo. Oh my gosh, was she sexy in literally everything that she's in? Oh, Thomas Crown Affair is one of my favorite heists. It's actually scratch that is my favorite heist movie of all time. The remake.
Yes. It definitely has one of my favorite scores. Like the music in that movie is so good. Do I have it right here? I do. I have it right here.
The Man by Nina Simone is everything.
If you haven't seen this movie, please immediately go watch it because you are going to have such a great time. It is so much fun. I love Dennis Leary in it too. Like nobody plays a jaded, upset, anal cop like Dennis Leary does.
I just love how he just kind of puts things in perspective where Renee Russo is like, man, I have this big job and she's doing professional and everything. And Dennis Leary's like, hey, my job before this was literally with like a kid like burning his wife's face off with an iron kind of situation.
Yeah.
This is better than that.
This is nothing. Yeah.
And also, can Dennis Leary ever not play a New Yorker or a cop?
It's true.
Can he play like just a chill neighbor from Austin, Texas?
No. maybe a chill neighbor in Houston. I mean, I think in a movie he did play a firefighter.
Oh, he was I remember his show that he was in that show.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, I can't remember the show. I remember seeing a bunch of commercials for the show.
Yeah. I remember it being good, but like he's also one of my favorite stand-ups. Like he's just great. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, the chemistry between Pierce Brosnan and Renee Russo is just
Pierce Brosnan, and that was in his prime. He was still in a contract with MGM because he was not allowed to wear a tuxedo in any film outside of James Bond, and until he ended his contract. And so they had to kind of work around it for this movie because there's a very classic tuxedo scene in the original, so they had to work around that. But he was still stunning.
I do like the workaround was the fact that the bow tie was undone.
It's not a tuxedo, but it's a tuxedo. You feel me?
Yeah, Chris, it's like asking Ray Liotta to not play a mobster.
Oh, well, thing is, okay, so I saw the movie something. It's Killing Something with Brad Pitt. He plays a mobster.
Killing Me Softly, or Killing Them Softly.
Rescue Me. Yes, that's the name of
that was the joke.
Killing Me Softly. Yes, thank you. And so he and I was like, this is like the 50th movie I feel like I've seen him where he's involved in crime, whether it be to a certain extent. And I was talking about it in like the C2A Discord, and I was like, can he just not play a crime lord or a mobster or an assassin or something like that? And he's like, Hannibal, literally a criminal that is working for the FBI. And he's like, Heartbreakers, he becomes a criminal. He becomes a con man. How dare you? And they're like, oh shit.
Also, Heartbreakers. What a great fucking movie. Oh my god.
Heartbreakers.
It literally brings you back to just like there's so much I love about Sigourney Weaver, but the fact that she can go from playing like Ripley to being like
Oh my gosh.
pretending to be a Russian mail order bride kind of deal. Like when she gets pulled up to sing karaoke at that Russian restaurant, I almost shit a brick. I was laughing so hard when she starts singing Back in the USSR. Oh my god. It made me laugh so hard. Or that, or just the pure fact that she is so sublime in Galaxy Quest.
Yo, okay. So Galaxy Quest is one of my personal favorite sci-fi films of all time.
100%. It's the best Star Trek film, in my opinion. I don't give a fuck.
I love it so much. It's so great. And I say that I've never seen Star Trek, any of the Star Trek movies, but I digress. That movie is so great. And the thing is, there's like that movie. I remember seeing Galaxy Quest for the first time, in the movie Fanboys for the first time, like in the same like weekend.
You know how I feel about Fanboys.
I think it's like I don't know the thing about it. I don't know how you feel about Fanboys.
It is, but it's the best Star Wars movie of all time.
Okay, the best Star Wars movie of all time. How dare you with Spaceballs? So okay, whatever. But because Mel Brooks is everything. Hello, and
he's good. But,
okay, but I definitely understand. I definitely get that. But the thing is, I saw those back to back, and it's very interesting because they have both very different takes on nerd fandom. One with fandoms rivaling against each other. I hate that movie.
You hate Fanboys?
Fanboys, I'm sorry.
You hate Fanboys? But why?
Okay, so that movie is horribly racist. It's horribly sexist. And that movie really does not age well in any way. But also, it's honestly in terms of fandoms. It's very. I really don't like the way how that movie in particular, it really pivots fans against each other in a very toxic, violent way. I think there's a lot of cute. I think there's a lot of really like they run their car over the statue.
That's made out of styrofoam.
Over a handful of fans because they can. They have a Star Trek gun in their thing, and they will have it there not to sell it because they work at a business. No, nay, sir. They do it because they want to lure in the Star Trek folks out of their den, and so they can make fun of them. That's the reason why. And so it's like
that's fair, but it's also like it's still funny. Like they still get their shots in too.
Or when or the scruffy nerf herder, he ends up having accidentally, not unknowingly, having a lot of like online sex, virtual sex with like a 12-year-old,
which happened back in the day. I mean,
I totally get that. So I read that.
But he also was so like shocked and appalled and like apologetic of it.
And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a pedophile. And I'm very grateful for that reaction versus being like, I can wait, because I'm grateful because for a fact that conversation coulda, shoulda happened at some point. Yeah. But I thought there was a handful of very cute moments, like Carrie Fisher popping in, a lot of the cameos, William Shatner just popping in, being like, "Cause fuck Star Wars."
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, tell him. There's like that weird rivalry between him and Lucas. But also where towards the end where this idea of like a female fan, they make it seem like you're not a fan. You can't be a fan of Star Wars. Yeah, and she literally bests them at everything. But the thing is, they still kind of fetishize her throughout the movie, which I don't appreciate. But
that's fair.
Yeah.
But they also I do love the fact that like they poke fun at Star Wars just the same.
Yeah, no, like, absolutely we do.
It's great.
They also reward some of that. I feel like they reward some of the toxic behavior though. Like they never have this moment with Star Trek fans and be like, you know what, we can still be fans of these things together and not be complete cunts to each other about it.
Yeah. It's still one of my favorite movies. I don't care.
Well, yeah, I totally get it, though. I get it. Mhm.
That's fair. It's one of those movies that I'm like, I'm not going to dig too deep in this because I really enjoy it. Because if I start digging deep into like something that is purely made for comedy's sake and like not like be a message, it's like, where do you stop?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's where it gets really iffy. I think comedy is definitely, in terms of movie genres, is to me the hardest genre to ace.
Yeah.
Not only for the actors, obviously, to ace it, but it's the hardest genre to write for, because it's so difficult for it to age effectively. Like Anchorman. I love Anchorman.
It's so
I
great.
know so many people that have pointed it out. Like, I've just pointed out stuff to you where people pointed out shit to me about Anchorman, and I'm like, fuck you. What have you done?
But also, like, Anchorman was made, like,
Mhm.
it was literally like poking fun at that era for
Yeah.
being like, it was
Exactly.
hyperbolizing everything that had happened in that era.
Mhm.
But I think that it's one of those things that if a movie is made in a time, like if it's socially accepted in its time,
Mhm.
then it gets a weird kind of like not like a pass, but like it's more of like an understanding because like it wasn't something that was done to hurt anybody. Like that movie could not get made in that way today because
Totally.
of the way that fandom has progressed. But like
Mhm.
in that time, in 2001, it was perfect for being in 2001 because
Mhm.
it's one of those things like everybody's working towards making things better, but like nobody's going to be perfect. There are movies that are being made right now that are completely socially acceptable that in 2015, maybe even 5 or 10 years, we'll look
Mhm.
back and be like, why did we love this movie?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Everything's evolving. So
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I also feel that way about a lot of stars as well. Like, oh my gosh, like I love Megan Fox so much. I've always really felt for her quite a bit. I feel like since for years. I remember watching her in Transformers years ago when I was in school and being like, I really liked her, but I remember everyone saying, like, I remember like talking about the movie in class and everyone being like, yeah, she's fucking hot or blah blah blah. And I remember people being like, no, she's just stupid and she's all tits and blah blah. And I just remember all this like really stupid conversation. Also high school.
yeah,
Surprise. Speaking
as we've
of,
previously established, people in their
um,
late teens and early 20s are the worst people
yeah,
on fucking
but
earth.
also, I mean, like she's been like I remember the thing is when I was in high school in particular, I remember being personally being told I was attractive, but I was stupid.
Mhm.
Like I was told that quite a bit when I was in high school. But it's like, oh, you don't need to know the answer, you're just pretty kind of situation.
Yeah.
It really, yeah, it really sucks. But I remember reading like titles of articles, just calling her a bitch. Everyone's calling her trailer trash, behind the scenes and everything. And I just remember being like, this doesn't feel right. And especially after you see movies like Jennifer's Body, which is one of my favorite movies ever in terms of like feminist horror, in terms of a whole bunch of stuff. I love that movie so much. And
Soundtrack is great.
yo, and it's so great. The soundtrack is fantastic.
Yeah.
But just kind of and how she's been incredibly self-aware and even meta of her image and how people have been treating her and everything, but also in control, but how she's been trying to control the conversation surrounding her, but she has been unsuccessful because people didn't like her. Like he's been talking about wanting to get people, she's been talking about sexual assault and her personal experiences for years. But people didn't want to hear it because she's too attractive.
Yeah, because she was inviting it. What was she wearing?
Yeah, people don't want to visualize someone like her, in that kind of situation. They want to only associate it with someone
Well,
else.
they also don't want to envision anybody like because being in the public eye like that, like everybody has that like fantasy of like being with that person that is way fucking out of your league. And so when you hear about these things about sexual assault, when those people are involved, you're like, oh, they said no to that person. They'll never say yes to me. And they take it as a personal attack, subconsciously or consciously, because some people are awful like that.
Yeah.
And like, that's where it starts to lead to really big problems. Is that like they're internalizing something that has absolutely nothing to do with them and then projecting it on somebody else, and it can ruin lives. It sucks.
Absolutely. It's also because of her image of this kind of bombshell. She was constantly like, her first movie was like when she was like 15 or 16, but even like if you watch those movies, she was like in Bad Boys 2 when she was like 17 years old.
Yeah, she was a little like, she was casting like the Lolita character.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, in a very, she was illegal, so she couldn't be seen. She couldn't legally hold a drink, but she can get wet by being in a white T-shirt.
Yeah.
But because she was labeled as kind of sex pot actress, she was treated that way by like talk show hosts and things like that. If you watch any of her earlier interviews with like Letterman, Jimmy Kimmel,
I mean, Letterman is synonymous for being like one of the worst interviewees of females. Like, oh my god.
His interviews with Madonna back in the day.
And oh my god.
It was just like, why are you asking me this? This is incredibly inappropriate. But he's like kind of brushing it off like a joke, and he keeps going with it, knowing that she's uncomfortable. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
But no one's going to tell Letterman stop.
Except for her, but nobody cares because nobody cares when a woman says no.
But also people, especially in terms of attractive women, a lot of people have a hard time thinking that attractive women can be in these situations.
Yeah.
Like I remember a friend of mine, she ended up being like drugged at a party, and she woke up and she didn't know what happened. And she ended up being in a house that she had no idea, but she ended up going to the cops. And she's like, well, you know, it was like, we're not gonna, it was like, are you sure who you were talking to? But also, were you flirting?
What's your proof? Oh, you were wearing that.
Oh, these are your pictures. You look like you're having a good time, and blah, blah, blah. And
oh, look, you have a drink in your hand in this picture. Like, you obviously knew what could have happened.
Like, are you sure you weren't being like super flirty with him? Like,
why didn't you just leave?
Is this like a really popular group of guys kind of thing? And she ended up like dropping out of school, but it's a whole other conversation. So, but it is really, really unfortunate how we really drag through the mud a lot of these women, because we think that, hey, they're attractive, or hey, they're labeled this, therefore we can treat them this way. It's a horrible situation.
You're only good for what your body can give us. Now, with that thought, did you see Promising Young Woman?
No, I have not. I have heard like mostly positive things. The only negative things I've heard about it were actually from my female friends.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking loved it.
I've heard of like a lot of. I'm also really curious because my mom's a surgeon going through med school and everything, obviously. So I was kind of curious if she's seen it as well. But I mean, as far as like the school culture and all that, I was kind of curious to ask her about that. But yeah, I'm really scared to see it just because of the theme.
Yeah.
And my bias is just like, I don't like seeing that behavior on screen regardless. And also I don't like sympathizing for a bad person, even if it is because the thing is, at the end of the day, she's drugging people or.
Nope.
Doesn't she like pretty much do something? I know she doesn't like assault, or she doesn't like rape anyone or anything.
No, she just poses as a drunk girl in bars and waits to see who's going to take her and take advantage of her. And then when she gets to their place, she flips the fucking script on them and scares the living crap out of them.
How does she scare them?
By literally being sober and being like, no, what did you just say to me? I said I want to go home. Like, and they're like, what? Yeah. You're fucking drunk. Like, what's going on? She's like, you're a bad person. Like,
you can't do this.
Yeah. I mean, the worst thing she does, spoiler alert, guys, is she literally like handcuffs a guy to a bed. And that's it.
Based on the trailer again, based on the trailer, I had associated that she ends up like doing some kind of torture stuff on some guys, but obviously that didn't happen then.
Watch the movie.
I don't want to pay for it. That's the thing, but I'm sure I will watch it whenever it comes on.
I have a file I can send you.
Girl, please do. I'm like so cheap when it comes to movies with all the streaming. Like I have HBO, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and something else. And as a result of all also HBO Max is my favorite streaming service right now, period. It's so good.
It's got a lot of really good content on it.
It's so great. I've been watching a bunch of classics and all that good stuff, but is as a result, I have the hardest time justifying paying money, like an additional $10, $20 for a movie where I'm like, I literally have like 50 million movies that I know I need to watch. But I really want to watch this movie. Like I want to watch Raya, the Last Dragon, but
I'm like,
but it's $25. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I want to be like, I really want to send them a message and be like, look, I was one of the first people to invest in Disney Plus. I was like, I bought it at D23, for 3 years. They were doing this special. It was like $150 for 3 years, like outright. Yeah, and then it was a really great deal. I'm going to be really fucking sad in like a year and a half when I have to start paying for it. But like, you have those 3 years and I'm like, can't you just like give like a founder special or something like that? So that like, because we're the reason that you got it. Like, can we just get just once? Like, even if it's just like a one-time watch, please.
I mean, that would be dope. Yeah. I mean, they also have a bunch of new movies that are going to be going on to streamers. I mean, like Cruella and the Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
They made announcements recently.
Yeah. I haven't kept up. I've been studying way too much. My head has been in my laptop. Like, that's it. So I'm studying right now for an exhibition match. I'm doing an exhibition match for charity for Studio Ghibli movies. Fun.
And I'm super excited. I watched one of the Ghibli movies for the first time today. It's going to come up in a few weeks, but it's like I'm like thinking it's like 2 weeks away, and there's like the stake. It's for charity, so there's no real stakes. But I'm so nervous. What if I can't remember what year Howl's Moving Castle came out in theaters?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds fun. What movie did you watch today?
I watched Howl's Moving Castle. I haven't seen the movie since like early college, so it's been like a decade. And I also watched The Tale of Princess Kaguya, which was a first time watch for me.
Oh, how was it? I haven't seen that one yet.
The Tale of Princess Kaguya was really great. It's aesthetically, the animation style is very similar to My Neighbors the Yamadas, which is actually my personal favorite Ghibli film. But it's a very simple film. It's about a moon goddess princess, essentially. She is put on Earth as a baby. She comes out of a bamboo stalk. She ends up becoming a daughter of a bamboo cutter and his wife, James Caan, Mary Sturg, what's her name?
Virgin.
Her. They play husband and wife, and they end up being blessed because of the daughter. She's incredibly talented and beautiful. She ends up becoming a princess. Everyone wants to marry her because she's so beautiful. And then and a lot of guys try to marry her, and the prince essentially finds out about how hot she is, and she's turning everyone down, and she's 15.
Oh, ripe age.
and the prince like goes up and Kukui's like, I just don't want to be married. I'm just so scared and I'm freaking out. And the king, the prince is like, hey, I am gonna do everything. He sees her through this little blind thing, and he sees her and he's like, I need to make her the happiest woman on earth by being my wife, clearly. And so he sneaks up behind her without telling her and hugs her, and she freezes and she's like, no. And she, in a moment of complete panic, she says, I don't want to be here. And she pretty much summons her moon powers for the first time. And she has this like mutant moment where she ends up like, and she ends up like vanishing from the room. And the prince is like, oh, fuck, what just happened? And because of that panic, oh shit moment, she summons her moon powers for the first time, which is a signal to the moon god people saying that says
they can come to get her now.
like, hey, you don't want to be here anymore because you literally called out with your moon powers. I don't want to be here. And she's like, yeah, but I love my family and I love Earth, but this fuck.
This asshole that doesn't understand what personal boundaries are.
And I was just really scared, and I'm 15 and I had this one moment. So
thank you, Dylan.
That's very true. Hey, Dylan.
I love you, Dylan.
Rachel, have you seen Dylan's new show?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, guys.
I told you, my head has been in my laptop studying for the last
so we're going to do a live reaction. Brandon Hannah was on recently. Okay. I'm going to send you a link in the private chat.
Okay.
It's going to be the best thing you will ever see. It's called No Chill.
Oh, that's right.
No Chill.
I remember seeing a clip from it.
Oh my gosh, it is gold. I've seen it like 5 times. Okay, it's like 15 minutes. However, we don't need to watch the entire thing, obviously. I want to give you a tease. But I just about peed my pants when I was watching, because I was actually in the green room while it was recorded, but I turned off the camera because I didn't want them to see me how I'm like busting out the entire time. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna just skip right. Okay, so you can just skip right ahead to
your word against mine.
Like 3-4 minutes in.
3-4 minutes.
But Dylan and Nat, they host it, and it's pretty much described as between two ferns in Schmoedown.
Okay. This will be interesting.
So yeah,
go
towards the beginning. Actually, go sort of like, oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering. Wait, did I forget to click share audio? Mm-hmm. I think I did. Let's try this out.
Be with you earlier on before.
Can you hear?
Before the hit list came out.
Yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you said start at the beginning.
Oh yeah, fuck it. We'll start from the beginning and we'll stop whenever the heck we want.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
But she was just unavailable. I had to settle.
Hold on, let's
chill, and I'm doing. Hey everybody, we're no chill, but doing. So we got a special guest on today.
Oh God.
I believe we have a clip. Do we?
Yeah. We've got a clip. Billy Belford sent it in. Big fan of the show. Now, if you can go ahead and cue it up.
I like how the same body language. I just realized that.
This was such a rough match.
Buzz droids. And your winner, Chandru, the chosen.
It was a rough match.
They're vulture droids.
Looking for vulture droids.
Vulture droids.
Vulture droids, so close. Yellow leader.
They just put together all of his losses. Oh my God. Please don't ever do that for me. I understand my losses are epic and numerous. Ugh.
I really am a big fan of that Chandru guy.
We should get him on the show. Could we have gotten Chandru on the show?
Yeah, we probably should. But so we have Brandon Hannah on the show, and when we mentioned this to our group chat, I'm not going to mention names, but they were like all telling us to get him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. This is an interview show.
Yeah.
We're just a regular interview show. So
I don't get what people were implying.
Yeah,
they said they were very eager. They were very eager to get Brandon Hanna on the show.
I do want to confirm Brandon was totally game for this.
Let's bring him on.
I mean, when is he ever?
Hello.
I miss
What
him.
I'm supposed to do
I miss that hair.
I'm really happy.
I love that hair.
To be on this show. It's been a while since I've been on Call to Action, ever since last season when I called out most of you for what you really are. But hey, kudos to you two for finally having brunch with Brendan Meyer. I think that's great. You don't get invited the first time, but you get him on your little sideshow afterwards. I think that's really cool. And now you're putting me on the spot here with no script. I see. So I'm just kind of winging it. I guess it's my show right now.
That's enough of that. Yeah. Welcome, Anna, to the show. The worst there is, the worst it was, and the worst there ever will be.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll watch this later. That looks amazing and hysterical.
He's now on our side.
Hold on. Oh my god. I do desperately miss living with Brandon because he's just so wonderful and so witty and so dry in his humor that it was so much fun living with him.
I do want to confirm everyone in the chat that is indeed Dylan Camacho that was on that in the show right there. But it's so watching it. I think I like peed myself twice. I know for a fact I peed myself watching the Brendan Meyer match. It's so difficult to watch them going in on him. And I'm like, this sweet summer child, Brendan Meyer, and they're just really going at him.
I mean, how do you go after Brendan Meyer? Like, it's like kicking a puppy. I feel so protective of him.
You have to watch the episode, Rachel.
I don't, because anybody who attacks my puppy, like, I can't deal with that.
Oh my gosh, it killed me. And I was behind the scenes for that episode as well. But I was just like,
I mean, not only is he like one of the sweetest, most innocent, most wonderful human beings, but he's also fucking Canadian. So like, I love my Canadians.
I mean, he's best friends with like Ryan Reynolds, so obviously.
Yeah.
They're like cousins.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Dylan popped in to backstage and he just like literally put in a private chat just to hang out for a hot second.
Hey.
He literally came on like this. like shh, don't say anything. And I was like, oh, we could have brought you on. It's fine. I do think that we need to kind of wrap this up because I'm starting to get really, really, really hungry. Because we can literally just be on this call for until dawn on Saturday. And be totally fine. So if you guys have any questions for me or Alex, send those into Streamlabs down below. The link is down there. And we'll be out of here in about 13 minutes because 9:30 sounds like a good stopping point for me. But yeah, so have you been listening to any like new music and stuff while you've been hanging out, or just listening to some classics?
Let's see. Actually, let me just whip out my Spotify list that I've been listening to lately. I've been listening to quite a bit of David Bowie as of late.
I mean, wait, this guy? This guy?
Bowie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Americans. The Americans one is really fantastic. Also, I've been listening to 5 million covers of Ground Control, obviously.
Oh, perfect.
I've been re-listening to a Harry Potter musical.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I've discovered a new playlist called Slytherin Bitch. That's actually become my new running list. Which I'm like,
did you create that, or are you following somebody else's?
I was just like, the thing is, when I'm at home, if I'm like studying, writing questions or cleaning or whatever, I like to have music on in the background, not like actual music. But I just like background stuff that without lyrics or anything. Usually it's classical or something like that.
And instrumental, yeah.
And if you're on YouTube, and otherwise there's like a lot of ambiance channels, and there's one of them that's just like Slytherin common room kind of thing, or it would be like Hogwarts Library, or you can go to Hobbiton Birthday Party if you're part of the LOTR world, or whatever the situation might be. But I was like searching for like a Slytherin common room kind of situation or whatever, and you can find a bazillion and one different things. You can also find like Highlands. Like Highland dancing, which is really cool. Whatever. Anyway, sorry, off topic. But I ended up stumbling across Slytherin, bitch. And it gives me life.
What kind of music is on Slytherin, bitch?
Okay, so obviously a little bit of Billie Eilish. There's Marina and the Diamonds.
Ooh.
There's Panic at the Disco.
Naturally.
The Runaways.
Ooh.
Let's see. There's Maggie. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. I just know the song. Maggie Lindemann.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Doja Cat. I don't know. I think
the industry has changed since I left it.
Yeah, Charlie XCX. I don't know these people. But the thing is, okay, well, my big thing when it comes to music in particular is that I'm not a big music person.
That's fair.
The thing is, I'm a movie person and I'm a soundtrack person. And I will do deep soundtrack dives.
Okay.
But I cannot tell you how many times I've listened to the Charlie's Angels 2001 soundtrack that I sang at my 4th grade talent show, Baby Got Back.
Yeah.
Because I was in 4th grade and I had no idea what that song was about. I just knew Cameron Diaz danced to it, and I rapped it in front of my entire grade school because I was so awesome. That Romeo and Juliet, Full Intentions, that soundtrack, bomb.
I would love to hear
but-
a 4th grader just repeatedly say "little in the middle, but you got much back." Like, I just want to hear it. It just sounds
Well, I rapped it, but my best friend Anne, she danced. We were a rap and dance duo.
See, here's my question. It's not why did you do that? My question is, how did you get allowed by adults to perform this on stage?
Because one, parents didn't see it. So otherwise I wouldn't have known. And 2, it was like a last minute thing where like I filled in for a friend like so at the grade school I went to, every class was able to do a talent for the talent show.
Okay.
And on the day that they at the day that they did it, like our group, like the person didn't show or something, I don't know, but I was asked to do a last minute. And my teacher was like, I know you love to perform, and I know Anne is a dancer and all this good stuff. They had no clue. I think they were just in complete shock when I performed it. More than anything, they were like, she doesn't know any of this. So, and none of the kids here does. But, I'm sure like some of the adults were like, good job, kid.
Yeah. See, that's why I could never like be a teacher, because I would be that asshole teacher in the back, like laughing my ass off. And like
doing
like the call and response with you. Like,
oh, I can't remember. There's like the scene that pops up on my like YouTube feed a lot, where it's like this little 12-year-old girl that's like bullied in a school, but she ends up like it's like from a movie with that guy Charlie Day, and he plays her stepdad or something, or
right.
teacher.
And,
she's like, I don't know with you. And she ends up like doing it to her like pointing at her bullies and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so funny. Guys, what movie is this from?
And he's like totally vibing.
I'm so angry that I can't think of this movie, because I really do enjoy this movie. It's so funny.
It's not the one where it's like him and Ice Cube, right?
No, it's I don't think it's the fight one. Or is it?
I have no clue. I've not seen the movie in full. I don't remember him seeing them there. I just know Charlie Day's in it, and he's delightful. And it's just this little girl's like singing, "I don't fuck with you."
So funny.
That's bitch, I fucking with you. You little.
I mean, I was that tiny, small, thin little blonde girl growing up. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true.
Yo, same.
Girl, I was pulled in because my teachers thought my parents weren't feeding me because I was so thin.
Okay. Similar. When I was in high school, my guidance counselor pulled me out of class because they thought I was bulimic.
Yeah.
Because I was drinking Slim Fast during breakfast.
Because you're in high school and you don't wake up in time to have breakfast, and you're ingesting calories. Like, I don't know why they're
concerned. They were concerned.
You know what?
They had a conversation with me, and a cop was present.
Oh my God. Jeremy Miller, thank you. It is Fist Fight.
I never heard of it. No clue.
It's the movie with Ice Cube. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For a second there, I was like, wait, did I use the right ice or is it tea? No, I'm like, no, it's not tea. It's ice. It's Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
The things you got to think about that take up space in your brain as a movie trivia competitor. This is why we're so.
It's little things, y'all. It's little things.
Yeah. So basically, you like movies, but like you like them as an accompaniment to a story.
Yeah,
like on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember a lot of the soundtracks. Well, growing up, I bonded with my dad over a lot of movies, and I remember listening to a lot of soundtracks growing up. Like a big father-daughter movie was Forrest Gump. And I have so many memories of like going on road trips and just playing that soundtrack, all like 4 discs. Yep. And playing this, regardless of how you feel about the movie, the soundtrack is great, and we would just listen to the soundtrack the entire trip.
Nice.
Yeah, that I remember listening to like The Coal Miner's Daughter, that one quite a bit. Sissy Spacek.
Tommy Lee
tons.
Jones.
Oh yeah. I remember being so scared of Tommy Lee Jones in that movie. Oh.
Scared of Tommy Lee Jones? Where he's like the most supportive husband of all time?
No. It was like, there was one particular scene. I think I didn't watch the movie, but I remember
at the beginning.
I remember my mom and dad watching the movie, and I remember walking in and seeing just a few scenes. I think my mom loved the soundtrack. My mom was a huge Peggy Lee fan by extension. But I remember seeing just a handful of scenes without context, and he like brought in like a muffin from the convenience store on a tray and like a milk, and and they toured the trailer, and she like touched it, and she's like, "It's cold," and he like flips it over and like goes in to hit her, and at that moment, and he's like, "Oh." And I just remember being scared of him in that moment, because it was like the only 2 movies I've seen him in at that point, being like 5 years old or however old I was that movie and Men in Black.
Okay. Yeah, he's super intimidating. He's like that crotchety old man.
Yeah, I mean, up until that point, I mean, I feel like a lot of generation, like even later, he's been known as playing exclusively the old man.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing that in his younger years too, because I think he was like in his 40s when he played, when he was in The Fugitive. So and he was pretty crotchety old man in that too.
Hold up, okay, what's his name? Okay, do you remember Cocoon?
Of course.
Do you remember all the old as fuck actors in Cocoon?
Yeah, they were in their like late 40s, early 50s, and they looked like they were in their 80s.
Yeah, how the fuck were they in their 40s?
Because we have so much better skincare regime. Like,
no. Like Wilford Brimley was like 42.
Wilford Brimley has looked 70 since he was like 26.
Like, what the fuck happened to him?
I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna get any bio pictures made after this, like I want there to be like a documentary on why the entire cast of Cocoon looked as old as they did, as young as they did.
Totally. No, I can totally understand the argument where, well, it's easy to make someone up look older.
Right.
Absolutely. And I understand, way back in the day, there was a different age difference. So there was a time when 45 was considered the oldest fucking age ever. But that was not the 80s.
I mean, they also lived through a time where doctors prescribed cigarettes to pregnant women who were gaining too much weight in their pregnancy.
Yeah. And when I was in Ireland, they actually said one of the good ways to help with like gas, and actually women that were pregnant were actually recommended to drink one Guinness specifically a day. Is one Guinness a day to help with general pregnancy pains, essentially. And that was
if you have a Guinness when you're pregnant, it's going to help you with pregnancy pains because you're not going to give a fuck anymore because you just drink a Guinness.
Just one Guinness a day.
It's just one. It's
like
fine.
It's just like enough to feel you're not getting drunk or anything, obviously, off of Guinness, but you're just feeling.
It takes the edge off. It takes that edge off.
You're just feeling really good. Better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not as angry anymore.
Tom Cruise is older now than Bradley was then. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
56 years old when the last Mission Impossible movie came out.
Yeah, it's just insane.
Years older. It's bonkers.
It's ridiculous.
All right,
I'm gonna check real quick. I don't think we got anything else in. It'd be great if it would there we go. Nope. Okay, we are all good. So I like to close this out first by thanking you for being here because I love you so dearly, and we could just keep talking and talking and talking. But I like to close this out with a question from one of my favorite movies of all time, Almost Famous. And I know we talked about music a little bit, but the movie ends with William asking the best question: what is it that you love about music?
What is it that I love about music is that music usually is a way that helps me find a way to figure out how to feel. I am not good with words, especially in terms of feeling. I am a person, like when I am like angry or something, where I'm frustrated, I shut down. And that's a problem. That's something I'm actually working on. Look, because like even Lucas, he's like, Alex, when you get in this mode, you have to talk to me. We need to verbalize communicate. And I just shut down and I just don't want to talk. But music really helps me find the words to explain how I'm feeling, even if it's not specific to the argument, discussion, or whatever. Maybe if I'm with my family, friends, or whatever the situation is, I can usually find exactly how I'm feeling through a specific song or album or whatever it may be, really, really easily. And you're able to kind of identify that pretty quickly and translate that feeling adequately, I guess.
I love that. I love that every time I ask this, I get a completely different answer. And it's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on again. I just adore you, and we need to talk more because I miss you and I love you. And I also need somebody to pull my head out of my laptop for a while and stop studying and, converse with human beings. So why don't you go ahead and tell the kids where they can find you and all the shit that's been going on, where they can support you and stuff.
You can find me on Twitter at real_AlexMac. You can also, where I do a whole bunch of stuff regarding movie news and stuff with C2A. Man, I'm part of an award-winning awesome show called Call to Action. It's a Schmoedown themed after show channel where we do a whole bunch of stuff ranging from Schmoebaits to the No Chill thing I just showed earlier today to interviews and a whole bunch of amazing stuff. So if that's something you're into, definitely check it out. You can just find it on YouTube, but also anywhere podcasts are found. We're in audio form as well. That seems too fancy. I also host a show called Son of Bias with Video Drew, aka Drew Grant, who recently killed it against Elliot Dewberry, her husband. And we have a little bracket we're actually in the process of trying to finish.
Ooh.
So like a bunch of movies like Dolomite is My Name is Beat Raising Arizona, to catch the Karate Kid beat To Catch a Thief. Chainsaw Massacre is going up against Get Out, so I'm scared. So that's scary. So it was the point of Cinema Bias is just to watch movies outside of our comfort zone and really just challenge each other to watch new movies, essentially. So definitely go and check it out if that suits your fancy as well.
It's super fantastic. I love watching, and then it also always leads into some sort of like incredibly weird off the wall discussion, which I am a massive fan of, if you hadn't noticed. So for us here at the Rachel Silvestrini channel, Sunday, I'm so excited. We are starting the rewind back up again. It's me and Lindsay and Max breaking down the episode of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. It happens. Oh, that is not correct. The right time or the right date. I really should double check my shit before I post it up. But it's every Sunday at 9:15 Pacific time on right here on the channel. The first half of this season, we ended up getting Austin Weintraub, the creator of the show. We also got 3 of the actors, including Skylar, who I love and adore, and got to vomit my love of 21 and over and all things pitch perfect at him. He's the most lovely human being. So come hang out this Sunday with me and Lindsay and Max. And also next week at 6:30, it's going to be me and Peggy. And probably a whole lot of other drunk assholes in the background, because it's going to be the Thursday that we're at the house in Florida. So it's going to be a really fucking raucous night. You know, prepare your Streamlabs now, because it is going to be nuts, and it's going to be a real fun interview. So
guaranteed.
Oh yeah. So on behalf of me and Alex and everybody here, I love you so much, and I'm so happy. And I will see you